podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is My Tech Guy Podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks. Hundreds of radio stations. We're debating whether it's 200, 300, 400. It's hundreds. Just hundreds. It aired on Sunday, November 21st, 2021. This is episode 1846. Enjoy. The Tech Guy Podcast is supported by AT&T Active Armor. When it comes to security, you already have to lock doors, save passwords, and remember combinations. How about having one less thing to worry about? Thankfully, AT&T makes your security a top priority. Download AT&T's Active Armor free mobile security app to help protect your personal data, so you have one less thing to worry about. It's not complicated. AT&T Active Armor, 24/7 network protection and free security apps to help stop threats before they get to you at no extra charge. Compatible device and service required. Data charges may apply. Visit att.com/activearmor for details. And by Worldwide Technology, a platinum IBM business partner. With an innovative culture, thousands of IT engineers, application developers, unmatched labs and integration centers for testing and deploying technology at scale, WWT helps customers bridge the gap between strategy and execution. To learn more about WWT, visit www.com/twit. And by userway.org. Userway ensures your website is accessible, ADA compliant, and helps your business avoid accessibility-related lawsuits. The perfect way to showcase your brand's commitment to millions of people with disabilities. It's not only the right thing to do, it's also the law. Go to userway.org/twit for 30% off Userway's AI-powered accessibility solution. Whoa, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. It's time to talk tech, computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, all the gadgets that invade, dominate our lives these days. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number, 888-827-5536, toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. That's the number. If you want to call and ask a question, make a comment, make a suggestion, I'd love to hear from you. And so would Kim. She's waiting for your call. 8888 Ask Leo. The website where everything we talk about goes is techguylabs.com. Techguylabs.com. And that's free. I don't mention it because I want you to subscribe to anything. There's nothing to subscribe to. It's just a place where you can go. If you hear something and say, you don't have to write it down. Just say, oh, yeah, let's go there. Let's find out. Techguylabs.com. There is a chat room. There are actually a couple of them. There's a Discord chat and an IRC chat, irc.twit.tv. That's the Team Tech Guy. Those folks in there, hundreds of them, just are waiting for you to ask a question, and they're immediately chiming in with the answers, and then I can pretend I know. Actually, it really is teamwork because there's no one person that could answer every question. So the main reason I mention the chat room is because they're so helpful. And, of course, everybody who listens is. And so it's all a big team here to help you with your computer or technology problem. And certainly if you have a computer, if you have technology, you have problems. Computer is funny. The term computer seems out of date. When I say computer, I think of some beige box sitting on your desk with a big old monitor next to it. And that's not how most people compute. Most people compute these days with these little devices, these little slabs of glass in our pockets. That's by far the dominant platform. Whether it's an Android phone or an iPhone, that's it, man. That's how people compute. Maybe you have a laptop that you go home to, or you keep at work, or maybe you have a desktop at work. But that's about it these days. Which is such a change. I've been doing this show for many years now. Many years, since the 90s. In the 90s, it was Windows 3.1, DOS 5, and internet. What's that? If you weren't at a university or research lab, the internet wasn't anything. Here we are, fast forward 30 years later, and everything's changed. Now we've got Bitcoin. Actually, you see the Bitcoin bros. It's funny. I don't know. Are you rooting for or against Bitcoin? Bitcoin is the cryptocurrency that people use as an alternative to dollars. The only problem with Bitcoin is it's hard to know what it's worth. Right now, one Bitcoin is $59,567.90. But that's down $192 from yesterday. And tomorrow it could be up $1,000 from today. So that makes it a little bit complicated to deal with. The peak, I think Bitcoin got to a little bit over $60,000. That was its $67,000. Sorry. And that was November 8th. That was this month. So you can see, the range over the last year is somewhere between $70,000 and $30,000 per Bitcoin. So you could see how it's kind of hard to kind of imagine it as the day-to-day thing that you would buy stuff with. There's a country using Bitcoin, El Salvador, as its national currency. That's got to be kind of cray-cray. The new mayor of New York City says he wants his first 3 paychecks in Bitcoin. El Salvador is actually planning to build a Bitcoin city. And then there's the story of the Bitcoin owners who wanted to buy the U.S. Constitution. Did you see that? This was kind of interesting. This week, so there was an auction at Sotheby's for one of the, I think there's 7 or 8 printed copies of the U.S. Constitution. 13. Oh, that's a good number. There were 13 colonies, 13 surviving copies printed of the U.S. Constitution. There were some handwritten ones and stuff, but these are the printed ones. And a group of investors said, let's get together and pool our Bitcoin. They called it Constitution DAO, D-A-O. And they pooled the Bitcoin. They actually got a lot together. I think, what was the final amount? More than $40 million worth of Bitcoin, averaging more than $200 from 17,437 investors. The idea is we're going to bid at this Sotheby's auction, and then we're going to buy the Constitution, and all 17,000 people would own it. I don't even know what I think. Each person gets it for 5 minutes and passes it along. I don't know. They said they were going to put it out in public. This is not their only project, by the way. DAO, which stands for Decentralized Decentralized Autonomous Organization. That's what DAO stands for. So that's clear as mud. It's a group of people who want to buy something. And it can operate like a company. I guess there's some sort of legal structure around it. There's a City DAO, which is buying land in Wyoming to create a new Bitcoin city. I feel bad. And again, this really depends on your point of view. Some of you would go, oh, I'm sorry that the Constitution DAO didn't buy the Constitution. Most of us, I think, are saying, well, dodged a bullet on that one. Because a billionaire came along and bought it right out from under him. He bid more than they had, $47 million, I think, to buy this. And he's going to put it in a museum. He's going to lend it to a museum somewhere, which I think probably is exactly what the Bitcoin DAO was going to do. I know people listen to this show trying to understand this stuff. And, to some degree, that's my job, is to kind of say, well, oh, yes, this all makes perfect sense. But I have to admit, sometimes I look at it and go, what? Well, in Wyoming, a Bitcoin city. In El Salvador, a Bitcoin city. And there's certainly people who got in early on Bitcoin are worth a lot of money. The person or group who invented Bitcoin, who has disappeared since, Satoshi Nakamoto, is the pseudonym. We think, actually, that whoever that was has passed away because he owns $47 billion in Bitcoin and hasn't touched it in years. So, I mean, if I had $47 billion, I'd probably maybe forgot the password. That's what I did. I have 7 Bitcoin in a wallet, 7.5, almost 8 Bitcoin in a wallet, which is not a piece of leather with a little lining in it. No, it's a number, to be honest. It's just a long number. That's me. That's my account. Unfortunately, when I set it up years ago and Bitcoin was worth pennies, I didn't pay much attention. Since I've forgotten the password to the wallet. So I have the Bitcoin in, well, have is a very, when you're talking about Bitcoin is a nebulous term. I in theory, anyway, that wallet has 7.85 Bitcoin in it, which, that's worth a lot of money. I don't even want to, it's like $500,000 if I could open the wallet, but I can't because I forgot the password. I know everybody, when they hear this, they say, have you been hypnotized? Yeah, eventually I figure this is a good thing. Okay, here's my rationalization. If I had the keys to the wallet, I probably would have sold those 8 Bitcoin back when it was $1,000 a Bitcoin and been happy. Look, I got $7,800 for, nothing. Woohoo! Woohoo! But because I couldn't do that, Bitcoin is now more than $59,000. I'm rich. Talk about being rich on paper. I'm rich on number. It's a very strange concept. If you want to know more, call 8888 Ask Leo. I can explain. I think it's fascinating. I do. And these Bitcoin DAOs are fascinating. And the part of the reason a Bitcoin DAO can exist, this decentralized autonomous organization can exist, is because there's lots of people like me who, had, bought Bitcoin for $1. And now it's worth, hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. There are Bitcoin billionaires out there who, just got in at the right time. And, now probably is not the time to buy more Bitcoin. It's just, I should say, as a word of warning, But if you bought 5 Bitcoin for $500 a few years, it wasn't that long ago, a few years ago, you got some money to spend. And so these DAOs kind of make sense. Well, I'll give you $247 imaginary dollars, sure, to buy the Constitution. Why not? It's a windfall anyway. Fascinating subject. Let's take a break because I do want to take your calls. 8888 Ask Leo, website techguylabs.com. Oh, don't worry about it, Deep Piazza. My wallet is safe. Like I said, if I hadn't lost the password, there'd be nothing in it anyway. I would have long ago sold it. So, no big. No big. Someday I'll remember it. The fact that I didn't put it in my LastPass tells me it was something, I would remember. I wouldn't make up a random, hard to remember password unless I stored it in a password vault. But so that means it was something I use all the time, which means I'll just keep trying them. Well, I would have but I think I just, that's the whole thing, is at the time, it wasn't worth much at all. And so I didn't pay that much attention. I probably did not I know I didn't use a good password because I wasn't paying any attention. I just used my regular password. So at some point I will, I'm waiting until Bitcoin's 100,000. Right, John? When it's 100,000, that means that would be worth $785,000. No, $7.85 million. I'm going to wait till it's worth enough that I really should sit down and bang on it. Hypnosis would not help. Hypnosis is not for me. I went to a hypnotherapist many years ago to lose weight, and it's just not for me. I'm not hypnotizable, I don't think.
Whoa.
Bless the telephone. We've got the, no, it's okay. We just put a little Vaseline on the lens, a soft focus filter on. Kim Schaffer, our unbreakable phone angel. There you go. Now you're coming into focus. I know, it's a little blurry. Kim is sitting in another room, so I have a camera pointed at her so that I can see and hear, and then a microphone so I can see and hear her. This was something we set up. Well, you have to do that in a radio show because if you're answering the phone and you're in the same room, I'll hear it. Mm-hmm. So we have to be an isolated. She's in a soundproof booth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And but I can communicate with her through modern technology.
Yeah, you were before your time.
I don't even understand how it works. Is there a wire from you to me?
That's a John question.
It's a mystery.
Yeah.
It's a mystery. Hey,
Hey.
welcome.
Oh, shoot.
Good.
All my callers dropped.
What?
Not all of them. There's still some.
Who should I talk to, though? That's the real question.
The one I wanted you to talk to disappeared, so I guess you can.
Don't hang
let's
up,
talk to
folks.
Susie. You're going to spend a little bit of her money, but she's on a budget.
Don't hang up, folks.
Yeah, call back.
Call back. Thank you, Kim.
Line 3.
Line 3 is Susie from West Covina, California. Hello, Susie.
Hi, Leo. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
I've called before. I had a Moto G5 Plus.
Nice phone.
Which I can't find right now.
Oh, no.
I don't know if I left it somewhere and it's permanently gone. So I was trying to I wanted to get a new phone anyway. I was hoping to get something with about 128 gigabytes storage, but I would prefer to spend less than 300, 400 is my max.
Did you like your Moto?
It was okay, but...
What didn't you like about it?
I found it seemed like awfully slow to come up.
Yeah. So that was an older phone and the lower... Your price range puts you in not the flagship phones, which are the fastest phones. Those are now $800 and $900 and $1,000, you know. But in your price range, there's some very good mid-level phones that, in fact, the reason I asked if you liked your Moto G is because they have now, I think they're up to the G9. My daughter, who loses her phone like you a lot.
One.
You only lost it once. She makes a habit of it. I sent her the Moto G Power because one of the things that I like about it is it gives you a lot of battery life. That's why it's called Power. $229 gives you the 128 gig version. If you're sure you need that much, you can get a 64 gig version, which is $50 less.
I had 32 gigabyte before.
That's too small.
Yeah,
that's too small.
I can't even put any apps on there.
Yeah, no, 32 is barely enough to hold Android. So yeah, I would say start at 64. If you want 128, it costs $50 more. $229 instead of $179. But I think that's a good price. These are up-to-date phones. I think they're very good. They have good cameras. The battery life, the reason I like the Power is the battery life is very good. They have a 3-camera system, 48 megapixels. It's got, last year's Qualcomm 662, which is not bad. In fact, it's fast, much faster than what you had. I think you're going to get good performance on that. So if you want to save money, I like the Motos. There are other choices. There's the OnePlus also makes inexpensive phones. But the reason I kind of like the Motos is because they're pretty pure Android. They don't add a lot of junk to it. Did you contact the carrier and say, I've lost my phone?
Yeah, I contacted them and actually I thought about moving to a different carrier because I wasn't necessarily, because I was paying $15 a month with absolutely no data.
Oh, yeah,
They're going to be switching over, and I was thinking of switching over to Mint Mobile.
I love Mint. It's got that cute Ryan Reynolds as their spokesman. The nice thing about Mint is $15 gives you 4 gigs of data. otherwise the same. They're running on T-Mobile, so you want to make sure T-Mobile works where you are. Who was your carrier before?
Republic Wireless.
Okay, I've forgotten who Republic uses. I think it's AT&T.
Oh, I was thinking it was T-Mobile.
And if it is, it might be right. In which case, they're all what we call MVNOs, mobile virtual network operators. They resell. Yeah, you're right. It's a T-Mobile. So if you're getting good coverage with your old phone, you'll get the same with Mint, and that's a good price. I should mention Mint's a sponsor of some of our podcasts. So me and Ryan go way back.
I just wonder, what about the Moto G stylus?
If you like a stylus, that's great too. Yeah. All the current Moto series is pretty fast, and I don't think you're going to have the lag that you were having on your G6. I really like them because they're just plain, simple, good phones. So yeah, the stylus is another good choice. That's kind of what Moto does. They give you a choice depending on what you think is most important. Do you want a bigger battery? Do you want a stylus? And so the G stylus, which is just out as 2021 edition, is only $229.
And I looked at, that's why I was like, compared.
Good choice. I recommend highly. You don't need a fancy Samsung or Apple or Google phone. The Motos are great, and you'll save money. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I think time changes. Say again.
The One Plus, what model would I get if I was thinking about a One Plus?
The less expensive one is the Nord series.
Okay.
They're good. Actually, Samsung does make in the A series some inexpensive phones. If you're going to move carriers, Mint doesn't do this. They do sell phones, but if you move to one of the big carriers, they would probably give you a free phone to move because they charge so much. But Mint with $15, they're not going to give you a free phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. But on the other hand, free is like in quotes.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're paying for it in the long run. Yeah, I like Mint Mobile. I think they're the lowest cost MVNO out there. They're very aggressive. In fact, they have a Black Friday sale right now where you get 3 extra months.
I saw that.
Yeah. And then let me see. They sell phones. Let me just see what phones they sell. I have a iPhone SE from them, which was fairly inexpensive. That was, I think, $15 a month. And I like that. But they also sell Android devices. They have kind of higher end ones. The SE, if you get the SE from them, $17 a month or $399. That's a little pricey for an iPhone. I mean, an iPhone is a little more pricey than some of the other things.
Yeah, I know.
They have the Edge, which is good. Oh, but that's expensive. Yeah, they have quite a few phones. So you might see if you get a deal. It doesn't look like you're getting a particularly good deal because they're not subsidizing it like AT&T and the others would be. And I wouldn't get a really older one. Like they're selling the Note. I don't know if I would get the Samsung Note. I think your instinct is good. If you like a stylus?
I don't know. I haven't had, but I like the idea of being able to write stuff down. But.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, give it a shot. They're charging $450 for the stylus through Mint Mobile, so I would just get it on Amazon or somewhere else because it's cheaper. And you just get the SIM from Mint Mobile.
I can add over at Best Buy for $229.
Perfect. And then you just say, Mint Mobile, I've got my own phone. Just send me a SIM. And they do that for free.
How am I supposed to? Do I have to just how do I get my apps and everything back when I don't actually have the phone to transfer?
With any luck, you were backing up to Google.
I don't see anything, though, when I go. You
wouldn't. But when you log into the new phone and you log into your Google account, at least some things will be restored. Maybe your apps, depending on how you had set it up. Certainly your address book and your calendar will be restored because it's tied to your Google account.
Oh, because I have a Chromebook and...
Yeah. So when you get the phone, look, you're out of luck. You can't restore from a phone you don't have. So with it, there's nothing you can do just except hope that you backed it up to Google. You can back up which apps you have. Otherwise, you just go in the Google Play Store and you download them again. Actually, I take it back. There is a simpler way. On the Play Store, you can see your previous purchases, which includes the free stuff. So you can actually go down through the list and say, yeah, install that one, install that one, install that one.
Oh, okay.
So it's not hard to get back to where you were.
Because I just want the app to know, like, oh, she has a new phone over here.
Yeah, some apps will. The apps that you log into, you'll have to log into again, but then it'll know your data. Some apps save it on the phone. Those apps, obviously, you'll have to just start over again. Depends. Most apps nowadays, like your Words with Friends apps, things like that, when you log in, it knows all your stuff. Susie, got to run because I have Sam waiting in the wings.
Okay.
But it's a pleasure talking to you. Enjoy your new phone. I think if you have a hankering for the stylus, get it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And I do recommend Mint Mobile. Tech Guy Podcast brought to you today by AT&T Active Armor. When it comes to security, you already have to lock doors, right? You save your passwords, right? And you remember those combinations on your locker? How about having one less thing to worry about? Thankfully, AT&T makes your security a top priority. Download AT&T Active Armor's free mobile security app to help protect your personal data so you have one less thing to worry about. It's not complicated. AT&T Active Armor, 24/7 network protection, and free security apps to help stop threats before they get to you at no extra charge. Compatible device and service required. Data charges may apply. Visit att.com/active armor for details. Sam Abul-Samed's here. He is a principal researcher at Guidehouse Insights. He's also a podcaster. His Wheel Bearings podcast is awesome if you're into vehicles. He's our car guy. Hello, Sam.
Hello, Leo. How are you today?
I'm well. Lisa just got, I'm actually thrilled that she ordered it so many months ago because it's hard to get a car these days.
Mm-hmm.
She just got her Mini Cooper SE, the electric Cooper, and just loves it. She's
that's great to hear.
Zipping all over town. Now, there's two negatives on the SE. The back seat is only for small people.
Well, that's true of even the gas-powered Mini.
Yeah, it's a tiny vehicle.
Small people. And then, I mean, there's a reason why it's called a Mini.
It's a Mini. It's a little teeny weeny. But she loves it because it's very peppy.
Have you ever seen a modern Mini parked next to an original, like, 1960s, 70s Mini?
No, it was
it's huge by comparison.
The originals were really tiny.
Oh, yes. Very, very mini.
And the other problem with the Mini electric is it only has, about 120 miles range. But she's just using it for getting around town. Although there is a sport mode, and it pretty much doubles the consumption of battery. But she likes the sport because, basically it's a BMW i3 under the frame. And it's very peppy and sporty and zips around town. So she likes that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I thought I'd report in. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Got back from California a couple days ago. I was down in Southern California.
I saw your pictures of the Fisker.
Yeah, that's what's behind me. If you're watching the live stream, is the Fisker Ocean. So I attended a couple of different events. Spent some time with Toyota on Sunday and Monday, and then Fisker on Tuesday, and then the LA Auto Show on Wednesday. And the auto show was interesting this year. They're still kind of ramping back up to these bigger events, and so there's a lot fewer automakers participating this year than in past years. There was only 5 automaker press conferences, but all of the vehicles that were unveiled at the auto show this year, for the first time ever, were battery electric vehicles.
Wow.
No gas vehicles unveiled at the show.
And that's what that Fisker is.
It is.
Now, the only experience I have with Fisker is the very first Fisker. A friend of mine owned it.
The Fisker Karma?
Yeah. John Lasseter, you might remember him as head of Pixar. And his wife told me that it was great, except they drove up to the Oscars one year and couldn't get out. So,
they had a few issues with that car.
Have they fixed those issues?
Yeah, I mean this is something completely different. That car was a lovely looking vehicle, very sexy looking.
Yeah,
and Henrik Fisker's a great designer. He's done some amazing designs over the years, including the Aston Martin Vantage V8, the DB9, the BMW Z8 and the original first generation BMW X5 were all things that he drew. So he's done some impressive design work over the years. And in fact, he had been contracted by some guy named Elon, I think, to design a car that was intended to be the Model S. And well, things didn't work out so well between Henrik and Elon, and they went their separate paths.
As I remember, the Karma had solar panels on the roof.
It did,
which was
that
really
was one
weird.
of the options on there,
Yeah,
and so does the Ocean. You can get solar panels on the Ocean as well.
But you couldn't charge the car. That's not enough panels to.
You can put some charge into the car. It depends on where you live. I mean, the problem with putting solar panels on a car, as you know, Leo, you've got solar panels on your roof.
Yeah.
They have to be pointed in the direction of the sun.
Right.
And they only generate. Solar panels only generate power within a fairly narrow band of angle of the sun's rays hitting the panel. So once the sun is outside of that angle, that range, your power generation drops off pretty dramatically.
So these were more for show than they were for anything.
Yeah, I mean, if you're parked out in direct sunlight, and the sun's straight overhead, you can actually generate a decent amount of power.
It's 12 noon.
So, yeah. So the Ocean, unlike that very sexy four-door sedan that Henrik did a decade ago, this is a mid-size crossover. In fact, it's almost exactly the same size as your Mach-E.
They stopped selling that Karma initially because I think the battery.
The company went bankrupt.
Yeah, they went bankrupt. But now they're still selling it, but it's a kind of a different thing. And this is not the same at all, this Ocean.
The assets of that company were acquired by a Chinese supplier called Wangxiang.
Oh, okay.
And so they're still around. It's a company called Karma Automotive now, and they still sell an updated version of the original Karma. Yeah. But that's a completely different company now.
Got it. Okay.
This company, Fisker, has now partnered with Magna, a major automotive supplier, who, among other things, does complete vehicle assembly for a number of companies.
I remember that because there was a rumor Apple might be working with them to build an Apple car, because that's what they do. They white label. They build cars for other people.
They build almost every component that goes into cars.
Yeah.
There you go. There's the Mini.
Yeah.
They build almost every component.
Mr.
That goes
Bean
into
riding
a car.
on the roof of a Mini. Actually is.
And they do complete vehicle assembly, like the Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon, and the Toyota Supra and BMW Z4. Yeah. Those are all built by Magna at their plant in Graz, Austria, by a subsidiary called Magna Steyr. And that same plant is going to build the Ocean starting just about a year from now.
Wait a minute, So you were in an Ocean? So that's just a prototype?
Yeah.
Okay.
So and they're building them, slowly building pre-production models right now, but the production models and they'll ramp up. They expect to be building about 2 a day by March, and then by next November they'll be in volume production and start to ship cars to customers.
Nice.
So this thing is going to start at $37,500. And with a 250-mile range, and there'll be versions with a higher capacity battery that'll go about 340 to 350 miles.
That's a good price for that kind of range. In electric vehicles, they're a little more expensive because the batteries are more expensive.
Right.
But that's a good price, I think.
37. Some really neat features in addition to that solar roof. One of the interesting modes has got something called California mode. You press one button on the screen, and all the windows drop down, including the little windows in the rear quarters and the tailgate, and the giant sunroof opens up.
Oh wow!
So it's almost like driving a convertible.
Oh, that's kind of cool. California mode, huh? All right.
Yeah, and they also have a 17-inch center touchscreen that normally when you're driving is in portrait mode. But then when you stop, when you're parked, and if you're sitting waiting for it to charge, you can tap a button for what they call Hollywood mode, and it rotates 90 degrees. So you get landscape mode. So if you want to watch a movie on Netflix, you just do that.
So I worry about all that stuff. That's like gonna get failed real early. Going to be.
Yeah, there's always that potential.
I
think with Magna being involved on the manufacturing side and helping out with a lot of the engineering. I mean, they've got a lot of expertise and a lot of resources there.
Do they make any electric vehicles now?
Magna?
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually build the Jaguar I-Pace.
Oh, they do?
They manufacture the I-Pace for Jaguar.
So they have some
that's one of
experience
the
also with
vehicles
that.
they build.
Yeah, that's important because it's different.
They build motors and battery packs and all kinds of stuff.
Okay. Well, that's good news.
Yeah,
because
this will be an
Henry's a
interesting
good
one to watch for
designer.
next year.
I like his. I like the looks of his vehicles.
Oh yeah, he's a fabulous designer.
Yeah,
and so hopefully this one gets built right. And when it comes to market next year, hopefully it'll do well.
There's the reason I only signed a lease for my Mach-E, as much as I love it, is I figure when that lease runs out in 2024, there are going to be some good choices out there for electric vehicles. I might even want that Volkswagen mini bus.
The ID Buzz.
The ID Buzz. Who knows?
Cruise around in the Buzz.
And I want the rainbow Buzz. I get my tie-dye shirt on, grow my hair out, wear a headband.
Surfboard on the roof.
Yeah, man. I'm going, man. Sam Ebel-Samad, Guidehouse Insights, wheelbearings.media for his podcast. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Leo.
We missed you last week, but it looks like you had fun. I love the pictures. Is that the Santa Monica pier you were out on? I think it is. Yeah.
That's actually Manhattan Beach.
Oh, Manhattan Beach.
That's where Fisker has their headquarters. They're based in Manhattan Beach.
That's a nice area, actually. I love that area. Yeah. Do you want to do your thing? Hang out for a little bit.
I can certainly do that.
Thank you. I will allow you to do so, and I will quickly get a timer in your window so that you know what you got left.
All right. So Web Shorts is asking about looking for an EV to buy before the end of the year for the tax break. Only one I can find selling at MSRP is the Leaf. All others are selling for a premium.
Yep.
If you can find one.
Yep.
And that, unfortunately, is a problem regardless of what kind of powertrain you're looking at, whether it's EV, gas, whatever. There's still very tight inventories, and you are frequently going to be looking at paying a premium. So, if you need a vehicle right now, you can do that. The Leaf is a good car, but it's getting kind of old. Nissan did show the new Ariya, the production version of the Ariya. That's their new crossover at the LA show. Unfortunately, that one's not coming until about October of next year. But the Leaf, if you're looking for a compact car, you can get. The base version has about 150-mile range. You can get the base model, the Leaf S, starting at I think $29,900, so $30,000, and then $7,500 tax break on that. And then there's also the Leaf Plus, which gets the range up to about 220 miles. So
is it still using its that alternative form of charging? The one thing I like about these other vehicles, they're all CCS now. Is it still using CHAdeMO?
Yeah. So, for DC fast charging, the Leaf still has CHAdeMO. That's the last one that's going to have CHAdeMO. The Ariya is switched to CCS, but it uses a 1772 connector, the standard connector for level 2 charging, and that's something that. You can, if you're charging, a lot of the public charging stations, like in parking garages and things like that, that's what you'll find is the 1772 connector. And the CCS is basically the same connector with 2 extra large pins for the DC charging, the DC current. That's so you can still charge them in most public places, even with that, even with the Leaf. As I said, the Leaf is fine. It drives reasonably well. It's fairly roomy. It's not very exciting. It doesn't have all this things like OTA updates and things like that. But it's a good vehicle. It's a good car. You're not going to go wrong with a Leaf. Other options. There's not a whole lot out there, unfortunately. As I said, because of tight inventories. You're not likely to find a Mach-E or much of anything else, without paying a premium for it. There's a lot more EVs coming. There's about 20 EV nameplates available today in the U.S. By this time next year, it'll be about double that. So another one to look for is the Hyundai Ioniq 5, which should go on sale sometime next month. That's another one that should be a really good option. But they're not out there yet. And again, inventories are probably going to be pretty tight early on for that. But there's a whole lot more that's coming very soon. Somebody, GoBear75 is asking about the new electric Toyota, which I will talk about in the next break.
Finally, Toyota got off their keister, huh?
Yep, they showed the BZ4X.
Yeah, let's talk about it next break. I'm curious what you think. Let's play those horns. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I always wanted a horn section. You need a new PC. It'd be great. I love it. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. Tom on the line from Tampa, Florida. Hi, Tom.
Hey, Leo. How are you?
I'm great.
Top of the morning to you.
And the rest of the day to you, sir.
I got to say, I've been a fan of yours back in the 90s on Tech TV, right?
Yeah, that's right. Back in the 90s. It's funny. That at the time didn't seem like so long ago. It does now. It does now.
Exactly. Tempest Fugit, right?
It sure does.
Was the attack of the show a show that was on Tech TV?
So, no. Well, sort of. So Tech TV, when I was there, 1998 through 2004, was owned by Paul Allen at the end. He sold it to Comcast, and they fired me at that point. I moved off to do it in Canada. And then eventually they brought it to LA. It was still the Screensavers, but at that point owned by Comcast, part of G4, and they renamed it The Attack of the Show. They just brought it back, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So if you liked that, Kevin Pereira and I think Adam Sessler's hosting Extended Play. They brought some of them back. They just relaunched that on cable.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And Leo, you're to radio what Bob Ross was to television painting.
Am I making you feel relaxed and calm and happy little mini PCs? Yeah.
And solving our little issues. So I'd like to go in a fast fire round with you, and I'm just going to ask you questions. You just give me short answers, and we'll see how many of my
Good luck. Good luck on getting a short answer out of Leo. Okay, go ahead.
All right. I've upgraded to Windows 11. I've always had standard, Microsoft provided virus protection. Is that good, or should I get something else?
It's all you need.
All right, excellent. Number 2, I have an iPhone 12 Pro Max. In the messaging app, okay, you know how you can bring up the icons? I used to be able to get a Google, search one, which I found very, very helpful, in the messaging app. You know what I'm talking about?
So, it may be that you got that as an additional feature from Google.
Right.
As kind of almost like a sticker. So if you're in the messaging app, you'll see to the left of the window where you're typing the messages, there's an icon, kind of a weird icon with an A in it. That's actually the App Store. And it will allow you to add features. And I'm not sure where that Google search came from, but if you went to the App Store through that, it would show you all the apps you can add to messages. And there may be a Google search in there. So that's where I would look. Yeah.
I think I did drill down as far as I could, though.
It may be it's gone. That's the problem is that...
Especially if I like online gaming, like Overwatch.
Okay. Say again. I missed it. I was talking. See, I can't do a short answer.
VPN. Is it worth it getting VPN?
No, don't VPN when you're doing a game.
Okay. But do you recommend VPN for, say, online presence?
Yeah, well, it just depends. This is a longer answer because it depends on what I call your threat model. Some people are very worried about privacy and security. Of course, a VPN is a good choice there. Other people are satisfied with, most sites you're visiting now are HTTPS, which means they're encrypted from you to the site.
Sure.
And for most people, that's adequate. So it really depends on your threat model. And there are lots of ways to get a VPN these days. For instance, if you have a Google Pixel phone, Google has put a VPN on there, and it's automatic. Apple's kind of done the same. You said you have a 12. If you are paying for iCloud Plus, any iCloud services, you'll get it. That is a kind of VPN. They call it Relay, and it gives you some of the benefits of a VPN. So in many cases, you're getting that anyway. So unless your threat model is, I'm a, secret agent and I really got to protect myself.
No, just in general protecting us.
Probably not. Probably not.
All right. Thanks, Leo. All right, let's go down to my family room now. I have all the services.
You're getting your money's worth today. I love it, Tom.
Yeah. So I have all the services. My TV is a TCL, which gives us a Roku remote.
Yeah, it's a
So
smart
I have a
TV.
Roku remote. I
Yeah.
have an Apple remote.
Yeah.
There are limitations to both of them for me. So like in the Lord of the Rings, is there a one remote to rule them all? That's friggin' awesome.
It used to be Harmony, the best remote. They were bought by Logitech, and Logitech recently discontinued them. But you might still be able to find, if you shop around, people selling them. I think they're the best remotes out there. And it was it was universal remotes. Yeah, I'm still seeing them on the Logitech site. So that's the one I'd recommend. And it's the ultimate in programmable remotes. I think they're very good.
It's amazing to me that in 2021 that we haven't come up with a completely phone or app-driven.
I think that's
everybody has.
My sense is that's why Logitech decided to stop selling these, because ultimately now people have the remote that came with your cable box or a variety of other devices, including your TCL, is a universal remote, can be programmed, and so I think they just didn't sell very many and decided it's not worth keeping the business.
Gotcha. Now, Leo, I know you want me to stay safe, so one last question. I have Simply Safe. I've heard recently that it can be spoofed, and I hate even saying that.
No, don't even worry about that. Yeah, don't worry about that. Any wireless home
first of
security system has security flaws. Simply Safe, a sponsor, I might add, is very good about patching security flaws, and I absolutely stand by them. You're not going to have a problem with Simply Safe.
But what I'm thinking is maybe even take down the sign then, because it gives a criminal an edge, ultimately.
Yeah. You know, you could go on Amazon and buy signs that say ADT or home security from a variety of people. You don't even need the security. So don't put a Simply Safe sign up. Put a sign up from somebody else. You know what? That's an interesting strategy. I say the same thing. For instance, I renamed all my phones. My phone used to say Pixel 6 Pro. Leo's Pixel 6 Pro 2, in fact. And I realized I'm broadcasting that via Bluetooth everywhere I go. So I renamed it. I said, I'm not going to name it that. Same thing with your Wi-Fi. If you put your family name or your house address, you're announcing this is where the Wi-Fi is coming from. So it's complete. It's not full security, but it is a way of kind of a speed bump, let's put it, to anybody who's trying to figure out how to hack your system. So yeah, don't use a Simply Safe sign if you have Simply Safe. Use an ADT sign.
Right. And I have an Orbi, and I think once I got everything set up, I shut off like the broadcast so other people can't even see it.
That's not a bad idea as well. Yeah, because you don't need to. When somebody has a new device, of course, they won't see it. So, but if you don't need to see it, shut off broadcast. Again, that's what we call security through obscurity. It's not real security because a determined attacker, again, your threat model matters. If you work for a 3-letter agency in McLean, Virginia, that's not enough. But it's certainly enough for the average person and the average guy driving by saying, let's see if I can find some Wi-Fi around here.
Gotcha. And one last observation, Leo. Thank you for your time. I'm a big electric car guy. I don't have one. I have a 2017 Tacoma, which I hope to trade. Cybertruck, baby, it's coming. That's what you need to get. And then the other thing I would say is I saw a car named an Alpha. The fellow was on talking about the car show, the electric car show.
Yeah.
I don't believe GM brought anything, which I thought was interesting and not mentioned. But the other thing is the Alpha head-on, they have a model that looks like an old Subaru kind of Corolla Super thing, which is awesome looking. So thanks for your time. And I will enjoy your show.
Yeah, Alpha is a platform for General Motors. And even if I don't know if General Motors was at the EV show, but they have already announced they are all in on EVs, as are most manufacturers these days. But I will ask Sam about the Alpha platform. I have a feeling he probably likes it. But we'll talk again. Thank you, Tom. Thank you for the kind words. That was a speed round. Sam, I almost pulled you up, but we were so short on time. I thought I'm not gonna bring Sam in on this. But was GM not at the EV show? I didn't hear that.
The LA Auto Show, GM has a display there. They've got all their cars. They did not announce any new. They did not. They were one of many manufacturers that did not announce any new products there.
Oh, okay.
As I said, there were only 5 automaker press conferences at the show this year. Much smaller, much fewer than usual.
Because they can't get the stock. Why promote it if you can't sell it?
Well, it's not only that. It's also automakers are increasingly shifting away from the auto show press conference because it's very expensive to do a press conference at an auto show. Yeah. They're following the pattern set by the tech industry of doing standalone events. Yeah. So for example,
Elon showed the way on that. I mean, he's done so well with his events.
Well, I mean, Apple did before Elon.
And so did Apple. Yeah.
So Toyota showed the BZ4X, their new EV, at an event in Encinitas a few days before the show. That's where I was on Sunday and Monday. And then Porsche had an event of their own on Monday or Tuesday night, I think. Jaguar Land Rover did an event on Monday night. So this is what a lot of companies are doing now, is they're doing events away from the show. So if you go to the auto show, you will see GM cars on display there, but there's nothing new. The next new product announcement from GM is going to be at CES, where they're going to unveil the electric version of the Chevy Silverado. That'll be coming up.
Is the Alpha platform their electric platform for all vehicles or just for some?
Alpha is an older GM car platform. That's what they used on the previous generation CTS and ATS. What the previous caller was talking about was not the GM Alpha platform. Nobody outside of the auto industry knows what that is. What he was talking about was Alfa Romeo.
Oh, Alfa Romeo.
Yeah.
Ooh. Do they have an EV?
So, not yet. It's coming in 2023. They will have their first EV.
That would be fun.
So they're part of Stellantis. So that's coming. In the chat, Demos is asking about the Toyota BZ4X. How does it contrast with the Subaru Solterra? It has a stupider name. Otherwise, it's exactly the same. The BZ4X is a terrible name that nobody outside of apparently Japan likes. But the Solterra was co-developed by Subaru and Toyota. They are exactly the same vehicle, and so I would recommend that if you're interested, go buy the Solterra again instead, just to indicate to Toyota that they shouldn't give such terrible names to their cars. So both of those are crossover. It's a compact crossover. It's roughly the size, it's slightly bigger than a Toyota RAV4 or Honda CR-V. And then let's see what else we have. This going back to the solar roof question. Yeah. So as I was saying earlier, the challenge with solar roofs is that, as you drive around, your roof is constantly changing its orientation relative to the sun. And it's really hard to get very much energy out of it. What Fisker is claiming is that their solar roof is actually fairly large on the ocean. They claim that under ideal conditions, which basically means if it's parked in the sun in some place like Hawaii, which I think somebody in the chat was saying, where the sun is very much overhead, you could potentially get up to 2,000 miles a year of free charging. And it does in fact work when the vehicle's off. It's designed, so even when the car's just sitting there parked, which is probably when you'll get your most, the most amount of energy from the sun, it will sit there and charge the battery just as if as if your car was plugged in. In most cases, I've tried some cars with solar roofs. The Hyundai Sonata Hybrid has an optional solar roof on it already. You can charge the battery, charge the hybrid battery. In the course of a day sitting out in the sun here in Michigan in the middle of summer, it got enough juice for about 1.5 miles of driving, which is not particularly useful. But, depending on where you live, it might be a worthwhile investment. So if you live in California, especially Southern California, it could be worth getting the solar roof option. Other places, probably not so much. Let's see. Best driving entry-level hatchback vehicle. You'd be surprised. Cars like the Hyundai Kona which is actually a sort of a crossover, slightly tall hatchback, is actually a lot of fun to drive. And we were actually just discussing the new Kona N. We were recording wheel bearings earlier, and you'll have to listen to that on Tuesday to get our impressions of that. But the standard Kona, starts at about $21,000. It is a lot of fun to drive. The Hyundai Veloster is also really good. There's not a whole lot of smaller, like entry level hatchbacks available in the U.S. anymore. Most of the cars are going away, but I would definitely take a look at the Kona and the Veloster. Both a lot of fun to drive. Let's see, what else do we have? Phoenix Warp was asking in the chat earlier about installing 3G or 4G in his Jeep that was recently recovered after having been stolen. That is kind of a challenge to do. You can do it. You can find some aftermarket hardware to add 3G or 4G connectivity. I don't know if LoCast? No, LoJack. I think LoJack is still around, and they basically do that. So they're still around, and you can get that installed in your vehicle, and it'll provide tracking for your vehicle if it gets stolen. That's probably your best bet. The thing you need to make sure, wherever the cellular radio is installed, it's somewhere where it's out of sight, because otherwise, if the thieves know where it is, if they can see it, they're just going to rip it out and toss it by the side of the road after they steal your car. So it definitely needs to be somewhere obscured. Susie L65 is thinking of solar roof on a car, especially if one's parked at work all day. What might actually be a better solution is if your workplace has workplace charging and installs some solar panels for the chargers. That's probably going to be a more effective solution than having solar panels on your car. Because the other challenge with the car is you don't really have that much surface area for a solar panel. So that also limits how much power you can generate. So that's, and the roof of your car is, as I said, is not pointed towards the sun. So it's never going to be an ideal option. Kona N, nuclear option. Not exactly, but it's almost as much fun. See, Jay asks about regenerative braking when the battery's topped off. Could pressurize suspension air tanks to tilt parked vehicle towards the sun. You could conceivably, you could theoretically do that. You probably wouldn't have enough suspension travel to actually make it worthwhile. But it's one idea. Let's see. Honda, Mike B says, Honda, in my uneducated opinion, makes the best cars. They do make excellent cars. We own one. We're very happy with it. We haven't had any issues with it. But the reality is most modern cars are all
They're so much
really
better.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to find a bad car.
It used to be American
anymore.
cars were terrible. But
Yeah,
they've
it's
really
no longer
solved
the
that.
case.
No, it's no longer the case.
Yeah.
I think, 20 years ago you'd buy a Honda because the American cars were so bad, but I don't know if that's true anymore. Having owned a few Fords now in my time. Thank you, Sam. Have a great week.
Talk to you next week, Leo.
Bye-bye. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. This is the show where we talk about computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, anything with a chip in it. Software, hardware, it's all the same to me. 8888 Ask Leo. The phone number, electric vehicles, electric bikes, all that stuff. 8888 Ask Leo. Back to the phones we go. I should mention before I do that, techguylabs.com is the website. A good place to go anytime during the week if you heard something on the show and you didn't write it down, or you just want to see it again or whatever. It's free. There's no sign up. It's wide open like the internet used to be. Just wander in. And we even put audio and video from the shows there after the fact. So you can just go to any part of the show, rewatch, get the answers, get the links. Thanks to James DeRuvo, our scribe. He's writing it all down. TechGuyLabs.com. Mary Jo from Amarillo on the line. Hi, Mary Jo.
Hello there.
That sounds like a good country song. I'm Mary Jo from Amarillo.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to get Waylon and Willie and the boys to sing it. What can I do for you, Mary Jo?
Exactly. Well,
I've been having a discussion with my daughter, and I want to get an external hard drive.
Okay.
I have a computer that's like 8 years old.
Yeah.
And, it's time to get that backed up. And I want to be able just to back up select things and bring them back, like photos and documents and that type of
Good.
material. And she was saying I have to get an SSD. And
Not for that, no. Not for that, no. SSD, if you were going to use, if in the next computer you get, will have an SSD, a solid state drive, instead of the old-fashioned spinning hard drives, because almost all computers now come with SSDs. They're faster on boot up. They're faster to run programs. Backup's different. Speed is not essential with a backup drive. And anyway, it's going to be on an old computer. It's going to be a USB drive, so it's not going to be very fast anyway, no matter what you get. So it would be almost a waste of money to get an SSD.
Okay.
The good news is these days, SSDs are not much more expensive than spinning drives, so it may not matter. But you could for...
I've been price shopping, and I found a WD 5 terabyte for $130.
Isn't that amazing? Holy cow. Yeah, that's fine.
SanDisk is $500.
Yeah. So there you go. There's the difference in a nutshell. And there's no point in getting the SanDisk because you're going to run it on USB, and it's just not going to be that much faster.
Okay. And she was concerned, like, if it got dropped, she said at least with the SSD, nothing will happen.
Well, yeah, don't drop it. Yeah, that's kind of true. I mean, seriously, if you were saying, I'm going to buy a new computer, should I get an SSD? I would say absolutely.
Right.
But for a backup drive, remember, first of all, and there are a few caveats here. Yeah, if you drop it, you lose it, but it's just the backup, right? Because you still have the original. Right. So remember that putting something on a backup drive does not mean you have a backup unless you have two copies. A lot of people copy something to a backup drive, then erase the original and say, I have a backup. Well, no.
Right.
That's one copy. That's not a backup. Truthfully, you should have 3 copies for real safety. And one of them, and this is, I'm kind of doing the ad for a sponsor, but forget that part. One of them should be off-site. Ideally, either in the cloud or at work, because if your house burned down or whatever, you still want that stuff.
Right.
When we had the wildfires up here a couple of years ago, we made the go bag, and one thing I didn't have to do is put in a hard drive because everything I have is in the cloud as well as on the computer. So I didn't have to say, oh, quick, get the family photos. I wasn't going to lose those.
Right.
So that's just something to keep in mind. But yeah, I understand what I don't want to diss your daughter-in-law. I don't want to. She's right. SSDs are in many ways preferable, but as you see, they're more expensive, and you don't need them for a backup drive. Just don't drop it.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Well, I keep it in one place. So
yeah, of course you're not going to drop it. And frankly, at that price,
carrying it around.
If you lost it, it wouldn't be the end of the world. You could buy 3 of them for the price of the Samsung or the SanDisk, right? So it's not the end of the world. I think a backup drive, it's going to be louder. It's going to, because you're going to hear it spinning. It might even have fans in that Western Digital to keep it cool. And it's going to sit on your desk, and it's just going to sit there, and you're going to buy or use the Windows backup software or buy some special software that's going to automatically copy to it so that you don't have to think about it.
That was one thing I didn't know about. So buy Windows.
Well, Windows comes with a pretty good backup solution.
Oh, okay.
Just set it up to automatically back up because you don't want to have to think about it.
Okay.
You want it to just be an ongoing process.
Well, and that this computer's 8 years old. I never updated it to Microsoft 10 because I was afraid, being that it's so old, that I might hurt something.
You might strain your back. Yeah, I mean, eventually you're going to probably want a new computer, but as long as it's running fine. And the problem is that Windows 7 is no longer being supported with security updates.
Windows 8.
Oh, you're Windows 8, then you're all right. Honestly, you could, anytime you felt like it, go to Windows 10. It wouldn't hurt anything.
Okay.
And Microsoft said this, we're only going to give it away for free for a year, but everybody says no. You just run it, and it doesn't ask for any money, and you're up to 10. Don't tell Microsoft. It's going to look a little different. I think 10 is much better than 8, to be honest.
Okay.
So I would do the upgrade.
Can I ask one more question?
Sure.
I had a tablet that just completely died, and I loved it. But my daughter is saying I should really just get a Chromebook. So it's smaller. I can type into it.
You're getting a lot of advice from your daughter.
Yeah. Well, she listens to you.
Oh, that's why. She's right. She's right. I agree with her. So the thing about a Chromebook that I like, people buy Windows because that's just what you buy, right? That's what they had at work. That's what I've always bought. I just buy Windows without thinking. And honestly, Windows is a general purpose operating system that is designed to run whatever you want. You could design a rocket ship on it. You could edit the next Academy Award-winning movie on it. You can do anything on it. And the problem with a general purpose operating system is it's more vulnerable because it can do anything, including malware. So unless you know you need a general purpose operating system, it's always better to get the simplest thing you can that will get the job done. You know what I'm saying? On anything.
Right.
And so a Chromebook is much simpler. It's just the browser. So if mostly what you do is go to websites to buy stuff, banking, email, that kind of thing, a Chromebook will do it all. And because it's simpler, it's less vulnerable.
Okay.
It's also less expensive.
Is there anything I need to look for in, like, I feel so old, how the transmission speeds or...
No, the Chromebooks, that's the other thing, is you don't have to think about a lot. There are a variety of Chromebooks. Acer, A-C-E-R, Spin is the one I would look at, the 713, or you just look at any of the Spin Chromebooks. They're very, very good. They're as nice as a regular laptop. There'll be a variety of prices. The more you spend on a Chromebook, the better the screen, the better the processor, the better the trackpad and keyboard. The storage is not important. RAM isn't that important because you're not doing a whole lot, so 4 gigs is plenty.
Okay.
So you don't have to get that's the other reason a Chromebook's a good choice. You don't have to buy a lot of hardware to run Windows because you're again, simpler is better. I think it's a good rule in life. The simplest thing that'll get the job done is the right thing.
Right.
Why buy complexity? Okay. Yeah.
That's what we get for listening to you. She's apparently listening better than I am.
What's her name?
So, my daughter's Tori.
Hi, Tori. Keep doing a good job with Mary Jo, keeping her on the straight and narrow. And you're right about SSDs. She's right about SSDs. When you buy that Chromebook, it'll have an SSD in it. When you buy a new laptop, it'll have an SSD in it. That's the default. But you don't need all that speed for backup. That doesn't matter.
Okay.
Thanks, Mary Jo.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Her name was Mary Jo. She came from Amarillo. She needed a Chromebook, and I told her what to buy. It's not, no. We should, I'll stop. Our show today brought to you by Worldwide Technology and, of course, IBM. They're a platinum IBM business partner. Worldwide Technology, I've talked about before, they are at the forefront of innovation and enterprise technology. They're the partner you want because they know business. They understand business. They understand that technology isn't for technology's sake. Technology's part of your overall business strategy. So when you're working with WWT, you don't have to say, well, wait a minute, how's this going to help me sell widgets? They know, they understand. They're really good at this. They work with clients all over the world to transform their businesses, and it all starts with WWT's Advanced Technology Center. They had the foresight to start building this about 10 years ago. They were so smart. They got hardware from all over, from all of the biggest OEMs and all of the little OEMs that are changing the world, and they installed it at their Advanced Technology Center. It started with one rack in one building. It's expanded. It's in multiple buildings, many, hundreds of feet of racks, $500 million worth of equipment. And it's a place where they go to try new stuff, to set it up, to configure it, to understand it, to spin up proofs of concept so they can deliver to their clients faster. And what's so cool is you can use it too. Starting last summer, they opened it up to the members of the WWT platform, the ATC platform. For free, you can do your own on-demand and schedulable labs. Their labs and proofs of concept, things like the IBM storage proof of concept, represent the newest advances in all kinds of areas: multi-cloud architectures, security, networking, primary and secondary storage, data analytics and AI, DevOps, and so much more. Just as the engineers use it to spin up their own proofs of concept and pilots, you can use it too. Plus, besides the schedulable on-demand labs, there's technical articles, there's expert insights, there's demonstration videos, there's white papers, all the tools you need to stay up with the latest technology. That's the partnership that WWT offers. And while you're there, check out WWT's events and communities for more opportunities to learn about technology trends, hear about the latest research and insights from their experts. You might even laugh a little. They get some great speakers in that are a lot of fun. And you can do it all 24/7 from anywhere in the world, and that's what I love about it. Although it's worth a trip to St. Louis. We went out and we saw the ATC, and it just was mind-boggling. Whatever your business needs, WWT can deliver scalable, tried and tested, tailored solutions, worldwide technology. They bring strategy and execution together to make the new world happen for you. To learn more about WWT, their Advanced Technology Center, to gain access to all those great free resources, just go to wwt.com/twit. You can create an account on the ATC platform and you're in. That's worldwide technology, wwt.com/twit. We thank him so much for supporting the Tech Guy Show. Thanks to you, too. I mean, if you're a listener or you view the videos of our podcast, it helps a lot if you use those special addresses. That way they know you saw it here. So for this show, wwt.com/twit, worldwide technology. Now, back to the Tech Guy. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, 8888. Ask Leo the phone number. I'd love to hear from you if you want to talk about tech. Randy's on the line from Laguna Hills. Hi, Randy.
Hi, Leo. How you doing?
I am great. How are you?
Well, I'm doing all right. Best we can. Happy holidays to you and Lisa and everybody.
Thank
you. I
you.
want to say thank you so much for all the knowledge that you've taught me.
It's my pleasure.
This is the second time we've talked, and, it's always fun. And that's the thing I love about your show that I watch every weekend. It's fun while you learn.
I try to make it fun. It could be boring, couldn't it? It could be dry. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, because tech could be that way.
Yep.
Yep. But you make it fun, and I love that. I just have a simple question for you, and it's not about printers.
Thank God.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
As you know, I'm not a fan of printer questions because they're so hard. They're too hard.
Well, they're a pain in the butt. But, I got one that maybe there's a bunch of people out there that are thinking like me. I'm going off the air. I don't want to be connected, cable and all that.
You're cord cutting, they call it. Cord cutting. Good for you.
Exactly. I'm in an RV, and I just travel around.
Oh, nice.
And I want to try to get the best signal that I can. And I go into, your stores, your big box stores, whatever. They got, 20 mile, 30 mile, 40 mile, but I don't know what to get.
I see. So you're going to be driving around in an RV. You don't want a dish on the roof. You don't want to have satellite TV and internet. You just want to have, you're not worried about the internet. You're worried about just getting over-the-air television.
Exactly.
Yeah, OTA we call it because, hey, it's no good if it doesn't have an acronym. So,
what do we do?
Yeah, so it's my normal answer to this, and it's still going to be the answer, but it's a little different for you. But my normal answer to this is for people who aren't moving around. You're moving around all the time. Is to go to a site called TV Fool. The only problem with TV Fool is their servers are very, very slow. So especially when I talk about it on the air, suddenly it gets unresponsive. With that, you can enter your location, and it will tell you what channels you can get, what signal strengths there are. But I think for you, the other site that I often recommend is probably better, which is AntennaWeb. It's antennaweb.org. Kind of does the same thing. You enter your address. It'll tell you what you can get. But it also has, and this is what you want, lots of information about television antennas and what kinds of antennas for what kinds of TV channels and so forth. So the problem is because you're moving around, you're going to need to, I think, depending on how far you are from where the TV towers are.
Southern California.
Okay, so mostly you're aiming it at Mount Wilson. That's where all the SoCal antennas are. So you're going to need to know where I would say generally, if you're distant from the antenna, you want a directional antenna on your RV because you're going to aim, but then you have to aim it each time when you park. You have to aim it at Mount Wilson, but you're going to get the best results. There are omnidirectional antennas as well, but I think also you have to consider putting it on the roof. You don't want something too elaborate. You don't want it to blow off. But I would look at Antenna Web. They're very, very good for...
So you're suggesting go like on the top would be best that's directional versus the omnidirectional ones you get in the box, a little flat piece of plastic.
Yeah, that's not going to do as well.
Okay.
This is a more sophisticated answer, right? And the problem is, of course, again, you're moving around. So, I mean, you might, when you get where you're going, just go onto Antenna Web, say, where's the signal? Where should I aim it? And so forth. So it's a good place to just at least learn about TV antennas.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
I'll look at both of them, AntennaWeb, .org and TVFool.
TVFool.com. Yeah.
.com. Okay.
Yeah.
Just to look at, just because I don't know. You see all these different antennas that they offer out there. That's
Yeah, there's Yagi, there's Omni, there's all kinds of antennas. So it's a really good thing to at least understand the technology, and it'll give you a better idea of what you might want. The other place to go is a place called Radiolabs. Radiolabs.com. They sell mostly Wi-Fi stuff. But they also have information about antennas, and you may, if you want Wi-Fi, if you want, for instance, to put an antenna on your RV, they actually sell RV Wi-Fi kits. So you can look up there, and I suspect a lot of the antenna information on this site is applicable. I mean, antennas are antennas, whether you're getting a television signal or a Wi-Fi signal. The frequencies are different, but the concepts are somewhat similar. So Radiolabs is kind of the backup to Antenna Web. AntennaWeb.org, Radiolabs.com, and then TVFool.com. But be patient when you go to TVFool. Their server, okay. I think they put quarters in every time the server goes down or something because it's a little flaky.
Yeah, it's always amusing, isn't it?
Every time I mention TVFool on the air, of course, we send many people. Yep, just did it again. This site is temporarily unavailable. I just brought it down again.
Gotcha.
So, whoever's running that.
That was very helpful. I didn't know what you would suggest, but I thought you're the boss because I listen to you all the time for everything.
Oh, thank you, Randy. I appreciate it. So you're driving around not to see the world, just to see Southern California?
Well, yeah, and then onward from there, and then
Good.
I'm not even thinking Europe yet. I'm thinking United States is great.
It's a little hard to drive to Europe these days, so I'd stick with the U.S. There's a lot to see. You can include Alaska in that, and then if you really get ambitious, you could drive down to South America. See the world.
Yeah, that would be fun, wouldn't it? I love going down south.
I'm jealous. I would love to do that. I have that nomadic instinct myself. Pleasure to talk to you. Thank you for your kind words, Randy. I really appreciate
Thanks, Leo.
it. Have a great one. All right.
And you guys, have a wonderful holiday.
You too, Randy. Safe travels. Coming up, Chris Marquardt, photo guy. We're going to do a little learning about digital photography. More of your calls too. 8888 Ask. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. That magic music means but one thing. It's time for my photo sensei, Chris Marquardt, at sensei.photo. He is our photo teacher, helps us get better pictures with our digital cameras. Actually, he's a film buff, too. Hi, Chris. Good to see you. Welcome to the show. So today, what are we going to talk about?
Well, we all eat, and we all take pictures of our food. So
Yes.
I thought we'd probably look into that.
The Instagrammer's favorite topic. You always knew somebody's on social media because before they eat, they whip out their phones and they take a picture of the food.
So, there's the Instagram kind of popularized taking pictures of your own food. There's different kinds of food photos. There's the ones for advertising, of course, that you see on TV or in magazines. And that's where they airbrush stuff and put cardboard in things and paint and whatever. Like, this is the food where it's strictly forbidden to eat any of the food on set because
like food stylists, because that's not real food.
Stylists,
yeah.
Well, it is real food, but they enhance it. Like if they have a chocolate sauce, that might be brown paint because that looks nicer on camera, this kind of stuff. So this is what the advertising, we're not talking about that. The other kind of food photography would be, again, commercial food photography for cookbooks. And they also sometimes use some trickery, but usually what you see in cookbooks is real. I've attended a couple of cookbook photo shoots, and it was at the end of the day, after some of the dishes were shot, you would usually sit down and have a bite. So
fun.
That wasn't too bad. But
that's one I want to go to.
I'm not sure it would be good for me. Of course, what I want to talk about is that Instagram style food photography. You're taking pictures of your own food on your plate, in a restaurant, at home, wherever. But Instagram, I mean, for us, we have a family group, and it often happens that we share a picture of what we have for dinner, so my parents can see it because they are not where we are, and my sister and so on. So this is kind of a nice little thing in our family, and maybe others do that too. So taking pictures of your food, it's nice. It's a nice thing to do. And of course, when you look at food photography, there are a few things that you can watch out for. And one of the central things is the same for every kind of photography. Watch out for clutter, stuff in the background. You kind of want to have a neat picture, want to tidy it up a bit. So that's what I always look for. What's going on in the background? Is there weird plastic bottles that don't look nice, or other stuff that I will move things out of the way just a little bit.
I wish I had. I was in Germany. I was in your neck of the woods, traveling down the Rhine. We stopped and ate at the oldest restaurant in the world. Where they very famous. I had there, and every town on the Rhine has its own sausages, and they all say, the Nuremberg sausages are terrible. You have to have our sausages. So I had their little sausages and some sauerkraut and a lovely beer, and took a picture, and it looked great. Except when I got home, I realized in the background were the garbage cans. And I'm sad.
That's the stuff that happens.
I'm sad.
So instead of spending time cloning things out after the fact, that it might just be the better idea might be to just think about what's going on there. But that's true for all kinds of photography. Let's look at a few photos here. The one thing that a lot of foods have in common is they're shiny. They have reflective surfaces, and that might be a sauce or a salad dressing on something, or even a slice of pizza. There is stuff on it. The one thing that will help you bring out those reflective things is the light and the direction of light. So turn off that flash on your smartphone or on your camera, because that will wash things out, and it will make things look not very appetizing. And instead, what I often look for is light to come from behind. Backlit stuff and food especially looks much better. So if you are, you remember, you've been taught back then, that the light needs to be behind you, so everything is nicely lit, right? The light should come from you. But with today's cameras and even with smartphones, there is just so much light there that you can really get those reflection in by shooting against a window, something. So that will typically work. Even drinks and these kind of things, there's lots of reflections there, and I always look out for those. for cookbook photography, with a plate of salad, what they will usually do is they have a little bowl of olive oil and a little brush, and they will, right before the photo shoot, they will brush things on because that dulls over time. So if it takes too long, if it's not fresh enough, there's a good chance that it will be a bit dull. So be quick. Even with other things like sauces, for example, that kind of stuff tends to get duller. So mix it up a bit so you have some reflections on there. White balance. We've talked about this here as well. If your camera doesn't automatically get the colors right, especially under artificial light, and in a restaurant, that might be the only light you have, then try to find a way to fix those colors. It's called white balance. And sometimes in some, even in some phone apps, you can set it to a specific type of light source. Like if the pictures turn out all yellowish with a yellow cast or a green cast, you might have to turn that white balance, manually set it to incandescent light or fluorescent light, just to fix and make those photos look a bit more appetizing. Here's a tip for soups.
Yes. Don't eat them before you take a picture. That's all I know.
Well, that's the first idea. But keep the camera straight, because a liquid surface, a water surface, in a coffee surface in a cup, or a soup surface in a soup plate, they will look weird if they are tilted to the side. If you don't hold the camera really straight,
it looks like it's going downhill.
Show in the picture.
Yeah.
But it isn't. It's the photographer doing this.
Yeah.
I like food photos where some action takes place. Like the one that we're looking at right now, someone is pouring some sauce over a plate with salmon and salad.
Yeah.
And that gives it some life, right? That makes it real. Chocolate, another one that is interesting. Chocolate gets dull. Food photographers, cookbook photographers will use a hairdryer to take some of that dullness out, to give it some shine right before the photo shoot.
So they melt it a little bit, make it shiny.
They just the surface, just a little bit, and that works well. So
I just wish I'd had this advice before I took the picture of the Wurstkugel in Regensburg.
Well, you will. I can next time I'll join you. I'll be your
join us. It was good, I must say.
And I like the sausages too.
They're really good. Regensburg has excellence, much better than the Nuremberg sausages. Chris Marquardt, you can find his.
Oh, careful.
Yeah, I know. I could get in trouble there. Every town you went to, they'd say, "Oh, don't have this. You had the sausage? No, don't have their sausage. We have good sausage
Very
here."
Proud of it.
Yeah, much better. Yeah. Sensei.photo if you want to get a little photo coaching from Chris Marquardt. SENSEI.photo. His podcast, Tips from the Top Floor, is the oldest, longest running photography podcast, and it's excellent. TTF.com. And what is our subject this month? It's happy, right?
Clear.
It was happy. Now it's clear. So take a picture illustrating the word or concept clear, upload it to Flickr, tag it TG Clear, and in a couple of weeks, Chris is going to review them and pick 3 that he likes. It's not a competition. It's just an excuse to get out there and take some photos. Look for something clear. That's clear. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm looking at the photo now, and I cropped it, I guess, but it's not as nice a photo because I cropped out the dumpster in the background. But so this is not my submission for food photography, but I have to say that was excellent sausages and kraut.
One of my first commercial jobs, doing some interior photography, I had to clone out my photo bag out of about half of the shots. Because you drop it in the corner, you take your photos, you come home, and it's like,
you learn. You only make that mistake once.
Learn.
Yep.
Yeah, kind of. Kind of was.
I'm sorry. Oh.
But that's the best way to learn, is by making mistakes.
Yeah. Always a pleasure, Chris. Great to talk to you. We'll see you next week. Yes.
See you in a week. Yes.
All right.
Yes, we will.
Yes.
I'll be here.
November 28th.
All right.
You don't do Thanksgiving, so it's Thanksgiving weekend for us, but that's not a holiday for you, I don't think.
We give thanks every day.
Yes, every day is Thanksgiving. And
do things like booster shots and so on.
In Hanover, we're all grateful. Thanks, Chris. Take care.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Let's do the turkey trot. Thanksgiving's coming up. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for you, Dr. Laura, Professor Laura, Lady Laura, whatever title you give her, our musical director. Thanks to Kim Schaffer, too. I am thankful for you. Ray on the line. He's our next caller from LaGrange, Georgia. Hello, Ray.
Hey, Leo. How are you, sir?
I am very well. How are you, sir?
I wish I could have seen you turkey trotting. But
it's on video. Just go to the website later this week. And
what my question deals with is I'm trying to decide between my internet providers. Right now I'm with DSL. Verizon sent me this new thing, LTE Home Internet. I don't know, and I've called them and asked them, okay, you say 25 and 50 sometimes up. Right now, when I do the speed test, my wired computer gets 12.6 down and 0.91 up. And I'm on DSL.
Yeah.
Now, I also have like 12 devices. Everything. I got a Ring doorbell, Wise camera, 2 Google devices, 5 Amazon devices,
and a partridge in a pear tree, and all of them on the internet. So this is something T-Mobile started. They started using, because, in this country, most people, I think it's 86% of the nation, only have 2 choices for internet. The one you have, your phone company provides, DSL, or from the cable company, if you have that. And 2 choices does not make for very much competition, which is why we pay more for worse service in this country than almost anywhere else in the developed world. It's just ridiculous because there's no competition. So there is a third way people get the internet. On their smartphones, they get it from their cell carrier. And today, between LTE, which is 4G, and the new 5G, you're actually getting pretty good speeds depending on how busy the cell tower is, how close you are to it, that kind of thing. You may be getting even as much as 100 megabits per second or more. Faster, much faster than your DSL. So T-Mobile started this. Verizon's doing it now too, offering you a device that's not a cell phone, but it uses the cell towers to get its internet. And you could, many people use their cell phones as a hotspot at home. But the problem is it's very expensive because they don't want you to do that. And so they charge a lot for the amount of bandwidth you get, and they have lots of caps and so forth. So the first thing to look at when you look at a carrier's home internet is not just the price, but how much data do you get and what are the bandwidth caps? When will it slow you down? And I'm not sure what Verizon's offering. They say, $60 a month or?
It's actually with you bundle it with your phone, which I do. I'm already a customer. You get $40 per month.
Well, that's a good deal. Yeah.
It's not throttle down. There's no throttle, and there's no. It's unlimited.
All right. Now, I never trust the cell carriers when they say unlimited. They got in trouble saying unlimited when it really was unlimited to 5 gigabytes, for instance. But then after that, we're going to slow you down so much you don't want to use it. Yeah, technically that's unlimited. But so what you really care about is, do they throttle me at any point? If you say there's no throttling, and there's no bandwidth caps, $40 is a good deal. Now it's going to come down to what do you get on your phone? Look at what your bandwidth, what your speed is on your phone, because it'll be comparable to that. Might be a little faster.
What I want to ask is the speed is much faster when I test the speed on my phone without not being on Wi-Fi here in the house.
Yep.
It's much faster.
Yeah, it should be. It should be better than DSL. DSL is limited because it has to come in over the 2 copper wires that were the phone service. So it usually is considerably slower than cable. And it's even slower, and this is what Verizon and T-Mobile have realized, than LTE. So $40 because you're already a Verizon customer, and no limits. Now, I noticed that you have to get their home router.
Yes, right.
And that you check that and see if you have to pay a rental fee for that.
Yeah, you do. It's $10 a month.
So it's really $50, not $40, right? These cell companies are just hysterical, man. Oh, yeah, we're only going to charge you $40. Oh, plus $10 a month for rental of the router. Oh, so you mean $50? Yeah, $50. Still,
that's up to $240. I mean, you can buy it outright for $240 or pay $10 a month.
Oh, all right. So if you're going to get it for if you knew you'd wanted it for 2 years, you might buy it outright. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
That's not horrible. It probably costs them $50, but okay, they're making a little money. You know what? They're a business. It sounds like a good way to go. Here's the final question. Can you try it for a couple of weeks before you commit?
They said I could do it for 30 days. I got 30 days to try it, but I hate to go through all that stinking paperwork. And the $40 has got to be you got to put it on your bank account.
Yeah. They don't want no charge cards. They want to make sure they get paid.
Yeah.
So I'm looking on the Verizon's press release,
right,
and they're saying, and this may be the case that they limit the speed. So download speeds of 25 megabits with peak download speeds of 50 megabits. So even though your phone may be getting 100, they may be doing something in the router to keep you from getting that. So I would definitely take them up on the try before you buy side.
Yeah. Now, is that okay? Even if it is 25, right now with what I'm getting, 12.6.
It's twice as good as what you're getting, right?
But okay, is that when I get that speed? Is that with all these devices?
Well, they're not all. So here's the thing: they're not all online at once. Even your doorbell's not always online. Although, if you do have an always-on camera of any kind, that can use a megabit or a megabit and a half right there for HD video. So some things are on, things like always-on cameras. I can't remember if the Ring is always on or not. It may only be on when it sees motion.
No, it's on all the time.
All right, so that may be using as much as a megabit. But most of the other stuff, the computers, the phones, the Amazon Echoes and stuff, unless you're actually streaming something, are not actually using any bandwidth, or not much anyway.
Okay, my end result is trying to get rid of my TV provider, which is Dish, and go with either YouTube or Hulu.
So 25 megabits is enough for one HD stream.
Okay. My wife and I usually watch different things. That's the thing.
So again, you're going to want to try before you buy, because 25 megabits won't get you 2 HD streams plus, other stuff going on in the background. So you definitely want to be, you're right on the edge. And, they may say 25 because that's what they guarantee, but you may, in your area, I don't know if they're artificially limiting it or they're just saying, we don't want to promise more than that. But you may, in your area, maybe not a lot of people are using that cell tower at any given time, or maybe in the evening it's faster because, you don't have commuters going by on the freeway and things like that. You might actually get better speeds. So I think the only way to be sure is to try it. But it is right at I wouldn't go below 25. Probably right now, you can't watch 2 streams at once, right?
Well, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, it buffers. It buffers all the time.
Yeah, that's why. You're right at the edge. It'll be, look, it's going to be twice as good. It'll be better than what you got now. It'll be enough for, maybe you can get 2 HD streams if nobody else is doing anything else.
Now, we do have a cell tower it's less than a mile away.
That helps. That helps.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, even though who uses what cell towers or anything like that, but
it's a bunch of things. It's the proximity to the cell tower. Closer is better. It's how many people are on that particular tower. Because think about it, they provide a internet connection to each tower individually. And I don't know what they provide as their backhaul, but it might be, 10 megabits, something around there, 100 megabits. If you've got 20 people using it, that's going to be fine. If you've got 100 people using it, it's going to be less than fine. And that's what you notice when you go around town, right? Your bandwidth changes on your cell phone depending on time of day, congestion, and distance. So you'll have a similar issues with the home LTE.
Now, with my phone, when I do the same speed test on my phone, it seems about 1 megabit slower down and about a 0.2 slower up.
That's right. It won't be symmetric. That's an unusual feature of your DSL, probably because it's so slow that your upstream is almost as fast as your downstream. Usually, the downstream is much, much faster. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. So that's another one to inquire. They don't, in this press release, say what their upstream is, which almost certainly means it's a lot lower than their downstream.
I've Googled it, and I get reviews, but I'm getting reviews versus 5G, not 4G. Nobody's putting a review up on 4G.
Yeah.
So,
this is new for Verizon. I don't think you're going to find many people who have it.
Yeah, I'm hoping somebody has it out there. They can put something in the show notes. Or
all right. Anybody have it? I don't know. You should check and see if T-Mobile offers it as well, because it looks to me like Verizon is capping it at the router.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're saying, we don't want, and this is the big problem with all LTE, and the reason they've been reluctant to offer it at home is you're sitting on that tower sucking bandwidth out of it.
Right.
So they're gonna probably limit how much you can do, because they want to make sure that people on their cell phones get some too.
Okay.
Are you in an area that's there's a population's pretty spread out, or are there a lot of? Yeah.
It's pretty spread out.
It's going to work better in a rural area.
Yeah. That's why I'm in a pretty much rural area, but we have neighbors right next door. With right next door to us, basically.
Yeah. So that's why they launched it first in rural areas, because it's ideal for a rural area. They also are getting money from the federal government, thanks to the new broadband plan, for wiring up or providing internet in rural areas. So that's why all of a sudden you're going to start seeing some more options.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I think that the bottom line is try before you buy.
Do the 30 days.
Yeah.
Go from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the only way really to know, and try it at all different times of the day and night, because I bet you it's worse during the day when there's other people using it than at night. And then the other thing that can happen, and then you're out of luck, is a neighbor can use it, and then suddenly you're sharing it with him.
Uh-huh.
And that's why I asked you about the rural thing. The farther away your neighbors are from you and that tower, the better.
Right. Now I know our neighbor's on. She's on cable. She's on the cable, and I'm dreading if I go to cable. I'm dreading having to deal with them.
If cable's I know nobody wants to. The cable companies are almost as bad as the cell companies. Nobody wants to, but cable's usually the fastest choice in anywhere.
Any area.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they can give you a lot better backhaul. They provide a lot more bandwidth to start. So
that sounds.
Yeah, and you may, like I said, it'll be interesting. Don't sign any real long-term contracts, because in a year or two, you may see some more opportunities thanks to the broadband bill.
But okay, I didn't know about this broadband bill.
Yeah, they're putting a lot of money, especially into rural internet.
Okay. Well, I know the satellites are going up. I know
yeah, and they got Starlink, and that's the other thing. There's, whenever there's competition, suddenly prices go down. I don't understand why.
I imagine that.
Starlink's very expensive. It's $100 a month, but it's getting better bandwidth than Verizon's offering. It looks like.
I'm basically want to know, is this better than than DSL?
Yes. Sounds like that's a given. Yes.
But I couldn't find that answer anywhere. Google couldn't
Well, it just depends, you know. I mean, that's the problem. Is it depends is the answer, but almost always, almost anything is faster than DSL.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll take your advice.
Enjoy.
30 days, and hopefully
and let us know. Let me know how it works.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
My pleasure, Ray. Have a great day.
Okay, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
The Tech Guy Podcast brought to you today by UserWay. Oh, I love UserWay. UserWay makes your website accessible to people with various disabilities, chiefly people who can't see, if they're blind or have low vision. This is such a good thing, such an important thing to do. And I know I have quite a few websites. It's also scary for website owners, but it is the requirement. The ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, requires that your website be accessible. But the challenge is then you go, oh, well, that means what? I have to do this and that. No, what does it mean? Well, here's the good news. UserWay can do it for it's very affordable. And it's a single line of JavaScript you add to your website, and suddenly it's done. A single line of JavaScript, UserWay can achieve more than an entire team of developers. I understand it's overwhelming to think about making your website accessible, but UserWay solutions make it simple. It's easy. It's cost effective. In fact, you can go to userway.org right now, userway.org/twit. Check out their free scanning tool. You can see if your site's ADA compliant. Probably isn't. All your images have to have alt tags, for instance. UserWay's artificial intelligence actually recognizes the image and adds a description of it to the alt tags automatically. Probably, most likely, your nav menus are tough to negotiate if you're using a screen reader, right? UserWay can remediate those complex nav menus. That's really one of the most challenging things you have to deal with on a website. UserWay ensures all the pop-ups are accessible. UserWay fixes vague link violations. It even finds broken links. You'd want to find those anyway, right? And it makes sure that your website uses accessible colors, but still remains true to your brand. And you'll get a detailed report of all the violations that were fixed. And by the way, UserWay makes it easy for you to amend or add to. So if the description UserWay says, oh, that's the Golden Gate Bridge at sunset, if you want to, you can easily go in there. UserWay helps you do this and say, with windsurfers in the background if you want. So you have complete control over it. It's a single line of JavaScript. And by the way, I'm not saying something that's new or different or weird. It is widely known as the best solution for web accessibility. Over 1 million websites use it, including Coca-Cola, Disney, eBay, FedEx. And now you can use those best-in-class enterprise-level accessibility tools as a small and medium business. It's that affordable. It's not just the right thing to do. It's not just the way to avoid a lawsuit, although it is. It's good business sense because so many people need UserWay to use your site. You don't want to lock people out. And, of course, you can scale to any size, as you can tell. If Disney can use it, you can use it, right? It's completely platform agnostic. You can be, if you, I don't know, are you using WordPress or Shopify or Wix, it's easy to add UserWay. AEM, Sitecore, SharePoint, hand-coded sites. UserWay works great. It integrates seamlessly with whatever you're using. It lets your business meet its compliance goals, and I think this is really important, improves the experience for your users. It's a good thing to do. Just ask Susan Bennett, the voice of Siri, what she thinks of UserWay.
Hi, I'm Susan Bennett, the original voice of Siri. You won't hear me say something like this too often. I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're looking for. But every day, that's what the internet is like for millions of people with disabilities. UserWay fixes all of that with just one line of code.
One line of code, and your site is suddenly accessible to 60 million people who before couldn't use it. Now, that seems like a good idea. UserWay can make any website fully accessible and ADA compliant. With UserWay, everyone who visits your site can browse seamlessly. They can customize it to fit their needs. It's also a perfect way to showcase your brand's commitment, and I know you are, to millions of people with disabilities. Go to userway.org/twit. You'll get 30% off 30% off the already affordable price. Userway's AI-powered accessibility solution. Userway makes the internet accessible for everyone. And I think that's a really good thing. Userway.org/twit. Userway.org/twit. We thank them so much for supporting the Tech Guy Show, and I thank you for supporting it by using that address so they know you saw it here. Userway.org/twit. Now back to the Tech Guy. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, getting your internet service from somebody better, all that stuff. 8888-ASK. Leo is the phone number, 888-827-5536. If you want to call with a question, a comment, or suggestion, I'd love to hear from you. 8888-ASK Leo. Simon Darren in our Discord chat said, not all towers are linked up with a fiber backhaul. There are some linked, and this is bad news, line of sight to another tower with a terrestrial node. And that hop can kill your latency. He says 2 to 3 times the latency. So, he says things get complicated fast, and that's really the bottom line for our last caller. You got to try it. And if it's never do a technology, they don't give you 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month to try it first, because you just don't know, especially with this kind of thing, how it's going to work at your house. I mean, it's a great idea. I'm all for it, but try before you buy. Don't get locked into it, I guess. On the line from Redondo Beach, California, Sue's next. Hello, Sue.
Hey, Leo, you've helped me so many times before, but I think this is a new one for you.
Always glad to help you. What can I do? Yes.
Well, I got a new microwave, and I guess it's a pretty powerful one because our last one did not do this, but it's besides the smart TV in the kitchen, and now the smart TV flips off on it. Well, the channel goes away and it goes to just a blank screen where it gives you the source, the 3 different options.
Yeah.
And we have an antenna on the house because we don't watch a lot of TV and stuff. But when we do watch it, we want to be able to watch it. So every time I turn the microwave on, the TV flips.
And then just out of curiosity, when the microwave stops and your hot dog is done, does the TV come back?
Yep.
So
and my computer in my bedroom now is doing weird things.
Oh, man.
There's a ghost in it.
So first of all, microwaves are in fact RF waves. They discovered microwave technology on Navy ships, where they have those big radar antennas, and sailors would put the beans up there and cook their beans. And they realized that the radar, in fact, the early ones you probably remember were called radar ranges. So they're operating at 2.4 gigahertz, which is high-frequency microwave frequencies. That's what they call microwave ovens. And they're radiating your food. That's all well and good because high frequencies don't travel well through walls. So your oven is shielded, and you're not at risk of getting cooked like those beans because the microwaves can't get through the shielded door. Even though you can see through the door, that metal grid stops the beams.
Okay.
And it's probably not well, it could be, but if there's something wrong with the oven, it could be that those microwaves are leaking out the side, which would be bad. Not just for your TV, for you.
Yeah.
So that's one possibility. It seems more likely that it's the cable, the cord, the power going into it. It might be an unshielded cord, might not be grounded. It might be going right next to the cord, probably not the TV power cord, but the HDMI cable that connects your TV to whatever the source is, and that the interference coming from the power, the 60 hertz power, is bzzz, messing up with that's harmless to you, by the way, but it's messing up the HDMI. It may, in fact, be leaking out into the power grid itself. So, and that might be why your computer's acting funny when you're microwaving your beans. So, if they're all on the same circuit, it could be RF. Typically, what we do to fix that is first of all, don't buy a microwave from that place anymore because...
Okay, so take it back.
Well, you could take it back, or you could go to an electronics store and get what we call a choke, which is a kind of a magnet. You might have even seen these. Sometimes cables have these big bumps on the ends. They're actually a magnetic core that goes around a power cable to reduce or eliminate the interference. So the first thing I would do is you can get them on Amazon, $6.99 for 2 of them. They snap onto the cable. They're just ferrite cores. They block the RF. Put it on the microwave oven's power cable, because that's the only cable coming out of the oven. Maybe get another pair, put them on the HDMI cable. You can actually buy HDMI cables that have chokes built in for this reason. I'm looking for $8. You can get 20 chokes on Amazon.
Wow.
So go around the house.
But what if it's leaking? What if it's not that problem?
Well, that would be a real cause for concern. And that's why, of course, the FCC tests all electronics to make sure that they're not radiating and so forth. But if it was, for instance, dropped at some point on its way to you, and one of the sides of the microwave got knocked loose, it could be. It could be. So if you it's brand new?
It's brand new. It's from the big box store. Maybe I'll exchange it.
Yeah, I would call them.
Okay.
Tell them that and say, I think it's leaking.
Okay.
And I want a new one.
All right.
So actually, Scooter X in our chat room, he's such a good searcher. He's found on the RV Life forums, I lose my TV signal when I'm running my microwave.
Phone number.
So it could be microwave leakage. That's not good.
Yeah.
You don't want that to leak out because it's not good for you.
Okay, so if I exchange it, get another one, does the same thing, then get the choke.
Then the chokes, or even tell the store that's happening. Maybe they'll give you some chokes because they're cheap.
Oh.
You can buy microwave. I used to have one of these in the early days of microwaves, a little meter that will tell you if there's radiation coming out of the microwave.
Right, I remember those.
Yeah, remember those when we were all scared?
Yeah.
Then we got used to it.
Right.
So you could probably also get that.
Wattage.
No. Lesser, if it's leaking, it's still going to leak. You're just not going to leak as much, right? So there's definitely some RF interference, radio frequency interference coming from that microwave. Most likely it's coming from the power cord. A choke will fix that. Or just, you know what? You could even try this right now. Look and see where the cord goes compared to where your HDMI cable is and move them apart.
Well, I moved it further over to a different outlet, and it's still doing it.
Still doing it. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so now it's leaking. It may be leaking into your power grid. So, and in which case that would explain perhaps that the computer is acting funny in the bedroom because it's on your electrics. So, you might call the look. It depends if you get somebody, just a nudnik, or you get somebody who knows what they're talking about. They may say, "Oh gosh, yeah, let's get you a new one."
Okay.
Just see what they'll do for you.
Okay, sounds good. I think I'll go that route. Thank you so much.
Sue. Yeah, that's a good thing to ask about. That could be dangerous. Yeah.
Yes, I'm not going to mess with it.
Don't mess with it.
Popcorn. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks, Sue. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, the story of the microwave is interesting. It's really radar. It's high-frequency radio waves. But because they're so high frequency, they bounce off anything, including those perforated metal walls in the door of your microwave. Dr. Mom says, put a piece of Mylar on the microwave and see if that stops it. If it does, then you need a new microwave. Then you definitely do not want to use that microwave anymore. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888. Ask Leo, the phone number. John on the line from South Bend, Indiana. Hello, John.
Yeah, hi, how you doing, Leo?
I am well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm that crazy GPH 1282 you mentioned there earlier.
GPH 1282?
Yeah.
What's that?
Anyway. Oh, it's just my initials.
Oh, you're in the chat room, GPH 1282.
Yeah, GPH 1282 in Discord. Yeah.
You were you the one who suggested an Android app that would help you find the antenna direction to aim your antenna at on your RV?
I did vote on it. Yes.
Yes. Well, thank you. Now, what can I do for you, GPH 1282?
Okay, you are going to help me spend money for Christmas.
Oh, yes.
Don't you love that?
Yes.
As I know it's one of your favorite things.
I love spending other people's money, yeah.
Anyway, I have a Nook, a 7th gen Nook, and I use it for my PC every day. But I'm looking for something a little more powerful that I can do, like gaming. Like I'd like to do like Forza Horizon 5, Microsoft Flight Simulator. But I want to go small form factor because I don't really have that big of a desk.
Yeah. So the NUC, NUC, which is an Intel, a terrible Intel acronym. It stands for New Unit of Computing, which makes no sense at all. But it's those little PCs. They're cute. They're little boxes, kind of like the Mac Mini is a kind of a NUC. But there are a lot of PCs. Intel made them, but a lot of companies make them now. And really, you can get as powerful a NUC as you want.
Yeah, I was looking at this Nook 9 Extreme kit, but it says it doesn't fit a graphics card.
Well, that's the issue. That's the issue, because these high-end NVIDIA graphics cards, require a tower because they're big. They also need a lot of cooling. And then the NUC case is small, doesn't have a huge amount. Although I'm looking at this Extreme, this is an Intel kit, $1,400. Wow. It is 9th generation Intel i9. That's a little behind, to be honest. They're up to the 12th generation now. And because it's a NUC, it's not going to have discrete graphics. It's going to have the Intel graphics on it.
Yeah, so I want to go. Should I go something more like the Dell gaming desktop, the Alienware?
What games did you say you want to play?
Forza Horizon 5.
Yeah, that's the number one game out right now. Yeah.
Simulator.
Flight simulators are going to take much better than integrated graphics. When Intel designed the NUC, of course, they designed it to show off their integrated graphics. But that's not, there are some NUCs that are bigger than the NUC that you have that can support a discrete graphics card. Intel has one called Beast Canyon.
Beast Canyon. Okay, so that's the one I would.
Yeah, Beast Canyon can actually hold. It has a slot, and it can actually hold a discrete graphics card. Funny thing is, you'll pay more for the graphics card than you will for the Beast Canyon, but and it might be harder to get because of the chip shortage. I'll tell you, I bought an Alienware, and I'll tell you why I bought an Alienware, because I did not want to wait to get an RTX 3080. And it was going to take months and a lot of effort on my part, entering lotteries, waiting in lines, that kind of thing. I think it's eased up a little bit. So your mileage may vary. It might be easier.
It's been hard to get anything here in Indiana. Midwest, we're a flyover state, so.
Well, I think it's just a chip shortage, so it's hard everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even get a hold of the Xbox Series X.
Oh, I can't. I've been trying for since it came out.
Oh, we're in the same boat, Leo.
Yeah.
I know. I've been following you, making sure you can get one. I know where, and I'm going to be hunting it down. I need to get a hold of Christina Warren. And see if she can hook me up.
That Series X Xbox probably would be the best way to play Flight Sim.
Is it? Okay.
They're going to put Flight Sim on it. It's not. I don't think it's there yet, but they're putting it on it. It's going to be part of the, their Microsoft Cloud Gaming, and that might be the easiest.
I keep hearing about because I listen to your Windows Weekly there, and that's where I get this news from.
So you can get a NUC. It's not really. I don't know why they call it a NUC. It's more like a shoebox than it is a hockey puck.
Yeah, I was gonna say my 7th gen is more like a hockey puck.
Yeah, and there's no way you could put a discrete graphics card in there. But because this thing is long and it's shoebox sized, it has the room that you could put a graphics card in there.
Don't get me started about the 7th gen and no Windows 11, but
Oh man, don't get me started either.
Yeah.
So I would say the reason I got the Alienware. Say again.
The Aria R12, is that the one you got?
I got the R10, which was because it had the AMD. It was AMD Ryzen 5800. But yeah, they've updated these Aero 51s now, and they're
R12 there shows a 11th gen i7.
Very nice.
And see here, NVIDIA 3060 Ti.
Yeah, there you go. And because Dell buys these in quantity, they can get these cards, whereas you and I, buying onesie twosie can't. So you'll see if you go online, a lot of people say, "Oh, Alienware, couldn't you but just build your own, doofus?" No, because you can't get the stuff. So
the parts are impossible.
Yeah, and I've been very happy with my Alienware.
Even Micro Center, which is all the way in Chicago for me, that's 100 miles away.
Yeah,
I don't like making that 100 miles.
Well, and you get there, and then Micro Center says, "Oh, we had 3, and they sold out at 9 a.m."
Yeah, exactly.
So I would absolutely take a look at the. I have no. You're going to hear people say, "Don't get it." I love it. I'm very happy with it. Alienware desktops. Let's look at what we got here. They've updated these now. Ooh, they got a clear side. Nice. The only downside, I bet you these new ones are better. The only downside to the Alienware that I have, John, is the fans are pretty loud. But that's all right. I just turn up my my speakers really loud. I don't hear them. But and I got the liquid cooled, so I would recommend that if you're going to get one.
Okay, liquid cooled. All right.
Yeah, those fans aren't quite as loud. They're now up to. They're doing the. Hey, this is good news. They've got Alder Lake. So.
Oh, Alder Lake.
Yeah,
that's the one you guys are just now talking
That's
about.
The hottest 12th generation. So I would either that. I've been very happy with the AMD 5800 has been very fast for me.
Yeah, so that's got a nice little bonus at work here. That's why I'm shopping.
Oh, congratulations, John!
Yeah, I've been hauling the mail for you guys. You guys are keeping me busy.
Now, John, I'm trying to talk my 19-year-old son into joining the Postal Service.
Mm-hmm.
Good job, right?
Yes. I'm a contractor.
Oh,
I know lots of people that work there.
Yeah.
And it's a great job.
Yeah, because there's benefits. It's union. You get pension, health.
Yeah, benefits, union, pension, constant work schedule. You never have to worry about it going away.
I got to, I'm trying. It would be such a good job for him. And I'm just keep
in touch with me there. I'll get in touch with him there.
It's his dad used to be a postman, and the problem is his dad said, "Oh, it's boring." It's like, oh, great, thanks, Mike. But please don't tell him it's boring. Tell him it's a great gig.
It's a great gig because you're never going to lose your job.
Yes, really. You can't lose your job. So they're standing out. The post office is down the street. They're standing out front saying, "We're hiring," with signs and balloons. We're hiring. They're desperate.
Get in.
Michael, go there. Get in.
Exactly. If you can get in, get in.
I would say so.
Hey,
but why haven't you? Why are you only a contractor?
Me, I do long haul mail service. So
you're driving those big trucks with the mail.
Yeah, I'm a semi driver.
Ah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, so
do you like that?
Preference?
Are you happy doing that?
I've been doing that for 20 years now.
You own your own? Are you owner operator?
I am a lease contract purchase. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
I don't come out your way, so I'm home every day.
Oh, well, that's good.
Out here in the Midwest.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, I'm home every day.
And the money's good because I've been hearing some people say, because you get paid.
Money's excellent.
Okay,
right now.
good.
I mean, money's on fire.
Because they're
now.
Desperate, right? They're desperate for drivers.
Oh, God, yes, yeah. We've been had them drop like hotcakes all of a sudden.
Right.
I don't know why.
Well,
when you're making $5,000 a week,
I'd take it.
Yeah.
And now you're getting a bonus, so you can go buy an R14.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's funny that you drive for a living, but you want to play Forza.
Well, it's for my son.
Oh, he'll love it. It's fun. And Flight Sim is fun, too. Hey, I have to run, John, but thank you for calling. I appreciate it.
In the background, can you just answer this?
Say again?
Nixie clocks. Are those clocks in the background?
Yeah, so this one behind me is a Nixie. I got it from Millclock, MILLCLOCK. They're made in Ukraine. And then this one, that's expensive. This one over here is a fake Nixie. That's not so expensive. They look like tubes, but they're actually little LED screens in there that make it look like a tube.
Okay, all right.
That's the one I'd recommend.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Enjoy. I'll enjoy the rest of your show. Have a great day.
Thanks, John.
For talking.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hello, Rocket Man.
Hey there. How are you?
Long time.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, He's in space, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Rod Pyle, author of so many great books, including First on the Moon, which I highly recommend. The anniversary wrote it in the anniversary of the Apollo 11 moon landing. So many beautiful pictures. It's just a great book. He's the editor-in-chief of the Ad Astra magazine for the Space Society. And I think we could pretty soon make an announcement about something else you're going to do, but we'll hold on to that for a little longer. Okay. He's right now flying at warp speed, I think, judging by the spectral shift in
slow warp. Yeah,
slow warp. Slow warp is still pretty fast as those stars are whizzing by.
Yeah.
So
when
what's new? What's new in
Star Trek? In the old days, we actually had different varieties of warp stars.
Wait a minute. You said you worked on Star Trek?
Yeah, I worked in visual effects on Deep Space Nine for a couple of years.
I didn't know that.
And I stopped when we stopped using the miniatures because I don't know. It was just going into a software program to do them wasn't as much fun. I did that later, but
so they had different speeds of warp.
Yeah, so you had these element reels that you know, when you were compositing the show in the edit bay, you'd say, "Oh, I got to go get Warp Stars 3," and you'd go get that element reel. It was pretty fun. And then you got to get the right colors for the Federation phasers and all that kind of stuff. But that's not what we're here to talk about.
What are we here to talk about?
I'm so glad you asked. We're here to talk about space junk.
Oh, that's a problem. In fact, the shuttle, Skylab, what do they call it? The ISS, the International Space Station. Are they astronauts if they're in the space station? What are they?
Astronauts.
They're still called astronauts and cosmonauts. Had to take shelter the other day because a debris, I was terrified. They had to go in their capsules and seal them up because a debris field was coming their way.
Because... the Russians decided, hey, this would be a good week to do an anti-satellite missile test.
They blew up a satellite in space?
They blew up a 2-ton, almost, defunct Cosmos satellite, Cosmos 1408, which had been hanging around since the 80s, not doing anything, and would have re-entered eventually. And that's of a size that it's a little bit of a concern, but it would probably have broken up over the ocean, as most of them do. But for reasons unknown, decided to launch this weapon on a weapons test and blow up their satellite on Wednesday.
Well, we know the reasons. Putin wanted to let everybody know that they had this technology. That's why.
Well, that and some analysts are saying it was possibly predicated on the fact that Biden and Xi of China had this virtual summit. And Russia wasn't part of the conversation.
We are part of conversation. Watch. Push button.
Right. And beyond that, just in terms of the general news cycle, Russia doesn't have much space news these days because they're not doing much because their budget's tiny and they've been having hardware problems. And China is running away with it.
How dangerous was this? Could this have actually destroyed the ISS?
Well, it could have caused major problems. So this explosion created about 1,500 major chunks that the Air Force tracks everything in orbit. And it created about 1,500 chunks. And I think they can track things down to about the size of a baseball, but hundreds of thousands of smaller pieces. And let's remember that a few years back, a space shuttle front window, now there's 5 layers to it, but the front layer of the 5 was almost taken out by a paint flake the size of a dime. A fleck of paint, because at those velocities, that's carrying a lot of energy, right? So you get something the size of a baseball or a softball, and it can be game over at these velocities, and depending on what trajectory it's coming in at, because if it's coming in opposite from the direction of orbit for some reason, now you're talking about a combined speed of about 32,000 miles per hour. So that's a big kaboom. So this huge debris cloud flares out from where the ASAT test occurred, and these things will stay in orbit for years, if not decades. So they all have to be tracked. And this is just added to this already rather dense cloud, and I say dense in quotes because
space is
if you were
big.
sitting up in space, space is big. You're sitting there, you're unlikely to see one or encounter one. But with all the assets we have up there, we got the space station, we got satellites, we got occasional crewed missions up there. The chances are not small that you're going to encounter something, and they have to regularly move the space station to and fro with thrusters just to keep this with happening.
Oh, so they can dodge.
They can dodge, but they can't dodge fast and they can't go far.
Right.
So you've got to make these smaller adjustments when you know something's coming your way. The problem is you get this fresh cloud, things are kind of tightly bunched together. So for the first 2 passes, about every 90 minutes is how long it takes to go around the Earth. The first 2 passes, as you said, the astronauts and cosmonauts had to go shelter in their space capsules because they're a little more ruggedly built. And at that, if once you're in there, you can decouple and head home if there's a problem. But they had to sit in there for hours and wait this out. And what's really puzzling is there's 2 Russian cosmonauts up there. So why are you doing this when you've got people in
They
harm's
don't
way?
care. Putin does not care.
Apparently
Who cares?
not.
His Russian satellite is fine.
And the explosion occurred at about 300 miles.
So stupid.
The ISS orbits at about 260 miles. So you can do that math, right? Some of the shrapnel's going to go up, some's going to go forward, some's going to go down.
How close did it come?
They haven't said, but close enough that the projections were close enough that they were concerned.
Don't
enough
take a
to
chance. Yeah.
Not just go into the capsules, but close all the hatches. They had to close the hatches.
Is this going to be an increasing problem? Because there's, Elon's got 12,000 satellites going to be up there, and Bezos says, I can launch those too. And
yeah,
it's getting a little cluttered up there.
Well, so you saw Gravity, right? The movie?
Yes. I'm just glad Sandra Bullock was not on the space station at this time.
Right. The Kessler syndrome. So they talked about that.
Yes.
So this is where you get enough stuff up there, little pieces that they start banging into each other and multiplying. And you could, in theory, have a runaway effect. Some people think we're close to that point. Many don't. But we're close enough that we need to worry about it. And you're right. As you keep putting more and more stuff up there, if it gets impacted by something old, now it creates a bunch more debris.
Right.
And
It could be a chain reaction that at its worst in the Kessler syndrome, it would block out the sun and cause eternal night on the planet Earth, which I think
probably not that bad.
I think you wouldn't want that. Let's just say.
Well, and you want to be able to do things up there, right? I mean, we rely on orbit for GPS. We rely on orbit for banking transactions because the timing signals come from there. Communications, navigation of ships at sea, tracking inventory on the ground in terms of trains and deliveries and so forth. So, if you can't go up there anymore, you have a real problem. So there are a lot of countries working on plans. Not much has been tested yet, but there's a lot of people working on plans to try and figure out how to scoop this stuff up. And you take that a step further, it gets really interesting because you've got all this metal and ice and paint and so forth, but mostly lighter metals in orbit, little pieces. If you could scoop those up and make something out of them, now you've really got a business because the big cost isn't getting stuff up there. But the problem is they're all moving at high speeds in different directions. So gathering them together is a real challenge.
You need a big space magnet.
Yeah, they've looked at that. They've even, I think the wildest one I heard.
I was joking. They actually thought about that.
Well, but it's got to be ferrous metal, right?
So a lot of aluminum's
not going to work.
Yeah, right.
So they've looked at nets and they've looked at sticky membranes that can gather stuff together.
Fly paper.
One of the more interesting ones the Japanese tried is dragging a electrically charged tether that is behind you in orbit that is powerful enough to cause anything around it to begin to deorbit. And I thought that was a pretty cool idea, but it's a huge deal. And to be fair, we've done ASAT tests. The Chinese have done them. We got mad at them for that. The Indians have done them. Ours have tended to take place in orbits that aren't as dangerous for either satellites.
So we're all blowing up
the
stuff
space
up
station.
there.
But
So
we're all
what a
trying
mess.
it
What a mess.
because if things go bad, we want to be able to take down the bad guys' satellites, right?
Rod Pyle, Space 2.0, spacenss.org. Thank you, Rod.
Yes, sir.
I have a video that we just got from the International Space Station. It's not looking good up there. Jeez.
That was
Louise.
there are some silly moments in that film. but
I loved it.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I loved it.
By the way,
yes,
talked to Lisa this week.
I heard it went very well.
She's a real champ, and I don't think most of us realize quite what an empire you have going up there. You talk about it sometimes, but that's a real operation. I mean,
it's a real operation.
Staff to support.
Yes,
we
have people,
all kinds of stuff. You
should visit the studio sometime. I'll show you.
I should.
Yeah,
because it's a lot more impressive than this little bedroom I'm sitting in with a green screen. I'm sure. But
also,
it was a real.
Let
delight.
me tell you, a lot more expensive. I don't ever want to add up all the money I've spent building this empire, but if I just
think about the rewards.
Yes. No. It's been fun.
You could be doing something boring for a living. And how come you're not telling your son to go on the radio?
Well, he's doing better. He's going into new media. Do you know how well he's doing?
No.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. He has 1.4 million followers on TikTok. He just signed a big management deal with a big Hollywood agency.
No kidding.
He's launching his own line of salts. Salt. He's going to sell salt. But don't worry, you're going to get some for Christmas. I already said I want to buy a ton of it. We're going to send it to the all the hosts. Oh my God, this guy he's doing so much better. So I realized at first I thought, oh, Henry, TikTok, Instagram, that's not real media. Then I realized that's what they told me 20 years ago when they said podcasts. Actually, 20 years ago, they said cable TV. Then they said 15 years ago, podcasts. So he's just the next thing. He's already got, let me just say this, a larger audience than we have. His CPMs are higher than our CPMs.
Oh, dear.
He's making more money than Twit makes, so I'm not going to tell him to go into radio. Radio? Are you kidding? That's the the worst thing you could tell somebody to go into.
Like I was thinking about the other son with the mail carrier.
Oh, the 19-year-old Michael. Yeah, no, Michael. I don't know what Michael.
Be cool though.
He's our stepson. He's Lisa's son, and I take no responsibility.
Well, so I never thought about the Postal Service, but in the 30s and early 40s, they were experimenting with rocket mail.
Yeah.
Where they'd load up a bunch of mail in a nose cone and blast it over to the next county. Didn't work out very well because they tended to come down hard sometimes, but it would be fun to watch it go.
I think Elon could figure it out.
Yeah. I think, what would have been fun for mail, maybe fun's the wrong word, but did you ever see Only Angels Have Wings? The old movie?
I don't think so.
Cary Grant. It
Angels
was
with Dirty Faces. Oh, yeah, I think I've seen
different
that.
One. It was airmail in Latin America. It's kind of a slow-moving film, but, that makes it look very glamorous, right? You load up a few bags in the back of the plane, and you put on your leather jacket and your scarf.
They have a hook in the sky, and it hooks the mail bag as you fly by. Sure,
You kick them out the door.
That's how they did it in 1939.
Yeah, that sounded kind of exciting.
They also had dirigibles.
Yeah, well, those took a little longer, but yeah.
They also had the Hindenburg back then. I don't know if I've seen that. I love Howard Hawks. I've seen a lot of his movies. I think I'll have to watch that one. I don't think
it's a fun film. It's a good rainy day film.
Oh, it's on the Criterion Collection. I get the Criterion channel. I can watch it.
And it's not Cary Grant doing comedy, so it's a little less fun than some of his other stuff.
He's so good. I love Cary Grant. My friend, yes, it went very well. We're very excited.
Me too.
Details to follow.
Yeah.
Thank you for proposing it. Have a good
pleasure.
one. See you,
Very
Ron.
excited to be.
Yeah, me too. I'm thrilled. Yeah.
Take care.
Bye. Thank you. I want to say thank you. It's Thanksgiving week. A good time for me to say how grateful I am to be working with you, Laura. You do such a good job with the music every week. And Jeremiah, our what do we call him? Our apprentice, Laura? Our apprentice music director? Yeah. What's his name? Not Jeremiah. Is it Jeremiah? Oh, yeah. I remember it because Jeremiah was a bullfrog. And he sounds like a bullfrog. And anyway, and thanks, of course, to Kim Schaffer, our musical angel. She answers the phones, gets you on the air. Thanks mostly to you for listening and to all of you who call. Take your chances asking me a question. I'm very grateful to get to do this. It's so much fun. We do have a few more minutes. Let's take some more calls. Jim is next from Atlanta, Georgia. Congratulations on your World Series win.
Yeah, wasn't that something?
Very exciting.
It was exciting.
Hey, Leo, first of all, thanks for taking my call.
It's my pleasure.
I bought 2019, I bought an iMac Pro.
Okay. Me too. I did the same thing.
The 10-core, 16 gig of RAM.
Yes, we spent thousands on that thing.
Thousands on that thing, yes. So, I fired it up, and it said that it wants me to upgrade to Monterey.
Yes.
And I'm still running Mojave on this.
Holy cow.
I know it. Well, when I upgraded from Mojave to Catalina, it would crash unpredictably.
Yeah.
And I'm a video editor.
Oh, you don't want that. Yeah. What do you use? Final Cut? What do you use to do the editing?
Adobe Premiere.
Okay. So the Catalina was a big jump because Catalina eliminated all 32-bit programs. So a lot of people didn't make that jump because software they needed wouldn't work. Now, Premiere is 64-bit, so you don't have to worry about that. But there may be some plugins or something that you use that was incompatible. That could be one of the problems. Usually, it would just not run. It wouldn't crash the system.
Yeah, the screen would just go black, and I would have to reach around the back of the monitor, power it.
Oh, I hate that. That's awful. Yeah.
It was bad.
I would try going to Monterey. Just do it on a day where you don't have a job.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be freaking out saying, I got to get this thing working. You could use, at this point, you could use Super Duper to make an exact clone of your current setup on an external drive. And if things went south, you can boot to that. Super Duper will make a bootable external copy of your internal drive. That's actually a great thing to have anyway. I always did that with my iMac Pro. So that's the first thing I'd suggest. That way you have a escape hatch.
Yeah, because what's happening right now is my subscription to Adobe Premiere, Adobe Audition, because I do voiceovers for a jazz radio station up in New York.
Oh, nice.
All of that stuff says that it's not compatible with Mojave.
Yeah.
So it's either it's either
not compatible with Monterey, because you're using Mojave right now, right? Not compatible with Monterey. Yeah.
I'm using Mojave right now. It would be compatible with Monterey if I did the upgrade.
Oh. So you're saying you have stuff that you can't use right now that you'd be able to going forward?
If I went up to Monterey.
Well, I think that's a good reason to go.
Okay, good. Okay.
I used Monterey. In fact, my iMac Pro, my wife now has, but she's using it on Monterey with no problem.
Okay.
And you're going to want to watch. I know we just bought this. I mean, literally $6,000 computer 2 years ago. But the new M1s are so much faster. And you're going to want to watch with interest when the iMacs come out this spring, because they're going to have incredible processing speed, and Premiere will run like a champ on it. But you got another few months to enjoy that Mac Pro that we spent so much darn money on.
Hey, and the Postal Service.
Yes.
My dad was in the Postal Service. He really wanted me to get into it. This is 40 years ago. And I was like, you know what? I really want to pursue my career in television and radio.
Good for you. Good for you.
And so I stuck with it.
But you'd have a pension today if you hadn't.
Oh, there you go. Exactly. I'd be retired.
You'd be sitting there on the beach in Puerto Rico, enjoying the sun, drinking the Mai Tais, saying, thank you, Postal Service.
Exactly.
But you had a great career. What kind of editing do you do?
Right now I work for Warner Media.
Fun.
Used to be Turner Broadcast.
Yeah. Oh, we've talked before. I remember you.
We have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, you got to follow your dream. You got to follow your bliss. And so I'm not going to knock it. I just think it's such a great gig. If you don't know what you want to do, it's a great way to just kind of do something.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even if he does it for 5 years,
Yeah, exactly.
So that's cool.
Anyway, pleasure talking to you, Jim. I would watch, if I were you, with interest to see what Apple announces in the next 6 months. Man, these M1s are amazing.
Well, I'm going to try the upgrade too.
Do the upgrade. You'll be all right. Super duper first, external backup. You make sure you make a bootable one. And that way, worst case, you just boot to the external drive on that Thunderbolt port. You'll be fine.
All right, man. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Good to talk to you. Last call of the day, Jeff in Diamond Bar. Hello, Diamond Bar.
Yes. Hi, Leo. Thanks for taking the call.
Thanks for calling.
My question is, do you have any comments on this stalled legislation, superconductor legislation that apparently stalls in Congress? And is it, from what you know about it, is it likely to really help us? Should we be trying to get our Congress people to push it along or kill it? Or
this is always a big question mark. Do you spend money on big science, especially big science that doesn't have an immediate payoff, that's blue sky research? And, we were building a superconductor, super collider some years ago. You may remember this. Congress withdrew funding. It was going to be built in Texas. The SSC, this is back in 1987. Congress withdrew funding, and it ended up getting built in Europe. And it was canceled in 93. And in fact, huge benefits from this. The Europeans, of course, we all benefit because it's scientific research, so they're not keeping it to themselves. But it has been a very productive thing. So it's controversial. We have so many problems at home. Big science is expensive, and sometimes things like a super collider, superconducting super collider, don't have an immediate obvious payoff. And so I understand why it's hard in Congress. I guess I would say right now, let's solve the problems we've got right in front of us, and we can worry about big science down the road. But R&D is really important, and oftentimes only the government can afford to do it. When they withdrew funding for that, that was it. And a lot of jobs in Texas disappeared because of it. Great question, Jeff. I wish I had more time to talk about it, but I'm out of time. I got to get out of here. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I will be back for the weekend to come, so we can all celebrate together. I hope you will. Meantime, all week long, techguylabs.com is our website, and twit.tv for our podcast. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Have a great Geek Week. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWIT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.